On an endless highway, the sun hung directly overhead. Scorching heat waves rolled forward, and stifling hot wind clung to everything, making every breath heavy and labored, as if a weight pressed firmly on his chest. Li Sun slowly lifted his heavy eyelids. Consciousness trickled back, and he realized he was lying inside an old, worn-out RV. He propped himself up slightly and scanned his surroundings. His gaze shifted, and he spotted 3 other unconscious figures beside him. Li Sun's eyes sharpened, first landing on the woman right in front of him. Sunlight streamed through the RV window and fell across her face, making her fair skin glow. Loose dark curls spread across the floor, and her long eyelashes cast faint shadows. Even in unconscious slumber, her exquisite features stood out, her lips tinted a rich crimson. She wore a fitted skirt and sheer hosiery that complemented her graceful figure. When Li Sun recognized her, his body stiffened at once. It was Yangmi. She was the top-tier celebrity who had just starred in Legend of Sword. For someone like him, who dropped out of junior high school and worked construction, she was the distant idol he admired deeply. He stared at her unconscious form, and his throat tightened. 2 voices clashed in his mind. Left brain, this is the person you've admired for so long. This opportunity won't come again. Right brain, hold on. First we need to figure out what's going on. Besides, there are 2 more women here. You're right. There are 2 others, Li Sun muttered to himself. He took a deep breath and calmed his racing thoughts. I should check on them first. Stepping carefully past Yangmi, he walked over to the other 2 women. One wore a plain white dress. She possessed a striking, ethereal beauty, her skin pale and translucent. Her oval face had flawless, gentle contours. Long, thick lashes rested on her cheeks, casting soft shadows. Her nose was slender and straight, her lips pale and gentle. Even asleep, she carried an air of quiet detachment, as if untouched by mortal troubles. The other girl was dressed in a school uniform. She curled slightly on the floor, her features soft and rounded, exuding warm, sweet charm. Her cheeks held a natural rosy hue, her delicate features full and soft. Her long lashes drooped gently, and her rounded face gave her an approachable, amiable aura. Lu Yifei, Tang Yan. What incredible luck! All 3 actresses from Legend of Sword were here with him. Was this a kidnapping? Or some new hidden camera prank show? Li Sun wondered in shock. My head hurts. Where am I? A groggy voice broke the silence. Yangmi pushed herself up from the RV floor, sitting upright. The scene drew Li Sun's full attention. Sister Me, didn't we head back to our rooms after the gathering? Tang Yan's voice roused Lu Yifei and herself from sleep. Something's wrong. There's a man in this room. Lu Yifei noticed Li Sun standing nearby quickly, her eyes alert. Li Sun was about to explain when a mechanical voice echoed in everyone's minds. Welcome to Global Highway Survival. Rules. 1. All humans worldwide have been randomly transported to the Endless Highway. 2. Every group of 4 will be randomly matched to form a team. 3. Each team receives an initial vehicle. Congratulations, your team's vehicle, used RV4. Everyone awakens a unique talent, ranked from grade F to SSS. 5. Treasure chests spawn randomly along the highway. Opening them yields supplies, but watch out for monsters guarding them. 6. The first day is the newbie protection period. Monsters near treasure chests will be suppressed. You may safely open chests and level up. Survival officially begins after 24 hours. 7. Upgrade your vehicle as soon as possible. A monster horde will sweep the highway every 7 days. Hopefully your vehicle can shield you by then. Survive and journey to the end of this world. After a brief moment of shock, Yangmi quickly regained her composure. She looked firmly at the others. Did everyone hear that? Li Sun nodded. Before he could speak, a translucent panel only he could see appeared before him. His system interface. Average adult male stats. 10 name. Li Sun strength. 13 years of construction work have built your physique. You are physically robust. Speed. 10 average level. Mental power. 610 mental energy is temporarily depleted. Take care to rest. Level. 1. Each level up greatly boosts strength, speed, and mental power. Keep advancing, newcomer. Trait. Hextech Unique SSS. Grade Trait Description. Favored contender of the fields of justice. You select 3 out of 5 Hextech options each day, one of a kind. You have 1 selection available today. Activate Hextech. Activate. Today's Hextech selection unlocked 1. 1 crate of regular drinking water 2. A full seafood feast 3. 3 sets of casual women's apparel. 4. Free 1. Time upgrade to any single part of the RV 5. Unlock F. Grade Trait. Ocular enhancement slightly improved vision, make your selection. Lee Sun studied the 5 choices and stroked his chin as he thought. Option 1. A crate of water was essential. Water would be invaluable for survival. Worth picking. Option 2. Food was also practical. He kept it in consideration for now. Option 3. He set it aside temporarily. Option 4. Upgrading the RV was critical for long-term survival. A must-have. Option 5. An F-grade talent was decent. Any improvement was better than nothing. After careful consideration, he ruled out option 3 and chose 1, 4, and 5. Ding. Selections confirmed. Items stored in system inventory, retrievable anytime. Yang Mi's soft voice pulled him out of his thoughts. It seems everyone received the notification. Humanity worldwide has been dragged into this survival game. As the most experienced of the 3 women, she had quickly accepted reality. Mr. Construction Worker, since we are assigned to the same team, we need to share information if we hope to survive going forward. Yang Mi glanced at Lee Sun and continued. Let's reveal our talents to one another. That way we can clarify each person's role in the team. What do you think? We agree. Lu Yifei and Tang Yin nodded in agreement. Very well, I'll go first. Yang Mi smiled gracefully. My talent is S-grade mental detection. It scans a 1-kilometer radius. I can share the scan results with the team. But at my current mental power, it only lasts 1 minute. Higher mental power will expand the range and duration later. We won't be caught off guard by sudden dangers. An S-grade talent right off the bat. Lee Sun thought to himself. As expected of a top celebrity, she held an immediate advantage. Sister Mi, that's incredibly powerful. Lu Yifei nodded, a faint smile touching her ethereal features. My talent is S-grade vital healing. As long as I have sufficient mental power, I can save someone even on the brink of death. A second S-grade talent, and a healer at that. Lee Sun and the other 2 stared in surprise. Sister Yifei, you also have an S-grade talent. With detection, healing, and my ability, our team is unstoppable. Tang Yin, in her school uniform, jumped up excitedly. My talent is S-grade enhanced strength fist. The power of my blows is 10 times my natural strength. I'll handle frontline combat. Sister Mi can scout threats, and Sister Yifei can heal us if we're hurt. We're going to thrive. Yang Mi and Lu Yifei nodded approvingly. To have 3 S-grade talents in a single team meant they held a massive head start. Ding. World Channel activated. A scrolling chat interface appeared before all 4, similar to a group messaging feed. Huaxia. Li Yu, this is a survival game? I never have to go to that boring job again. Huaxia 1-1. My talent is A-grade flame manipulation. I can spew fire. I'm the protagonist, haha. Huaxia. Lu Manyan. Can any senior add me? I'm 165 centimeters tall. Yamamoto Hachiro, damn it. My talent is only F-grade dexterous fingers. It only improves hand flexibility. Josian, Park Daechong. I have B-grade strength amplification. I'll become unstoppable. United States will trump. Haha. I awakened A-grade steel physique. I'm invincible now. Huaxia. Li Weigua. I am a Huaxia military officer with the rank of Major General. My talent is A-grade metal control. I intend to form a faction, prioritizing fellow Huaxia citizens. The channel exploded the moment this message appeared. Salute to our Huaxia soldier. Truly a top-tier talent. I'm Huaxia, I want to join. Ridiculous. Where are our Yamato soldiers? This must be fake. The strongest warriors belong to Josian. Staring at the chaotic world channel, the 4 inside the RV exchanged glances. Yang Mi recovered first and looked at everyone. Let's ignore the world channel for now and focus on ourselves. We already have a fence, healing, and scouting covered with 3 S-grade talents. Now we wait to hear what talent our new teammate has. All eyes turned toward Lee Sun, waiting expectantly. I'm 26. Please don't call me construction worker. My name is Lee Sun. He introduced himself, glancing at the 3 women. He was about to reveal his SSS-grade hextech talent when an idea suddenly crossed his mind. Yang Mi, elegant and confident in her fitted skirt. Lu Yifei, serene and ethereal in her white dress. Tang Yin, warm and lively in her school uniform. If he told them the truth about his talent, he would lose any chance to build closer trust with them. A risky plan formed in his head. He could lie and claim he possessed the SSS-grade talent blessings of companionship. There were 3 of them. He could frame his talents mechanics. Spending time together in gentle closeness would unlock small rewards for the team. Deeper trust and partnership would unlock stronger supplies and abilities. If they built a stable, long-term bond as a team, he would gain the most powerful rewards of all. He could frame it as a necessity for survival, not his personal desire. It wouldn't be him seeking advantages. It would simply be the rules of his talent, required for the whole team to survive. I'm brilliant, Li Sun thought silently. If the plan worked, he could build genuine camaraderie with them naturally. But there was a risk. The three women already possessed formidable talents. They could easily choose to split off and survive without relying on him. His only leverage would be supplies. If treasure chests failed to provide enough food and water later on, they would have no choice but to rely on his talent's rewards. Should I take this gamble? Li Sun hesitated, then looked once more at the three women waiting patiently for his answer. Stop being a coward. The opportunity is right in front of you. A flicker of resolve appeared in his eyes. I'm going for it. Yang Mi, Lu Yifei, Tang Yan. Li Sun paused, putting on a hesitant expression. Maybe I shouldn't say what my talent is. Yang Mi frowned. What's wrong, Li Sun? Is your talent weak? Rest assured, we won't mock you. Yeah, brother Li Sun, we won't laugh, Lu Yifei and Tang Yan echoed. Li Sun felt a flutter of nervousness, but he hardened his resolve for the sake of his plan. You asked me to speak, so I'll tell you. My talent is SSS grade. Silence fell over the RV instantly. SSS grade? Brother Li Sun, are you serious? Tang Yan stepped forward, skeptical. Yang Mi spoke calmly. Li Sun, there's no need to exaggerate your talent rank. We are teammates who need to rely on each other from now on. Sister Mi, Tang Yan, let brother Li Sun finish explaining first, Lu Yifei mediated. The two women calmed down and waited for Li Sun's explanation. Li Sun took a deep breath and met their gazes. Very well. You push me to reveal it. My talent is SSS, grade blessings of companionship. 3 seconds of quiet passed. Yang Mi stared at him and let out a cold huff. Li Sun, are you certain your talent is blessings of companionship? Do you take us for fools? What do you mean? Li Sun replied, feigning helplessness. He knew convincing them would not be easy. Sister Mi means this trope is common in online novels, Tang Yan explained earnestly. Protagonists get this kind of companion-focused talent, gaining rewards by forming bonds with others. You pressured me to talk, and now you doubt me, Li Sun said, pretending to be upset. Seeing his reaction, the three women exchanged glances. Yang Mi spoke again. We'll tentatively accept that your talent is blessings of companionship. Explain its exact effects, so we can judge if it's useful. Spending 1 minute in peaceful companionship can grant basic daily supplies. Deeper mutual trust between us unlocks stronger items or minor abilities. Long-term stable teamwork brings the highest tier rewards. Li Sun laid out the fabricated rules and watched their reactions. Whether they believed him depended on their own judgment. Yang Mi remained highly skeptical. Lu Yifei was unsure, half believing his words. Tang Yan was open-minded, ready to follow the judgment of the other two sisters. Li Sun evaluated their attitudes. Lu Yifei was his best chance. If he won her trust, Tang Yan would follow suit. Once the two younger women believed him and material rewards appeared, even the wary Yang Mi would have no option but to accept the truth. Right then, the system notification echoed in everyone's minds once more. Ding! Each team must assign a driver. The driver gains full authority over the vehicle, including operation, status monitoring, and modification upgrades. A driver? Who among us knows how to drive? Yang Mi looked awkward. She held a driver's license but had rarely driven alone. Lu Yifei and Tang Yan shook their heads as well. As celebrities, they rarely needed to drive themselves, even if they possessed licenses. Li Sun looked at them. If none of you can drive, I can take the role. But the system says the driver holds primary responsibility for the vehicle. Are you all comfortable with that? The three women shook their heads. While they were willing to lead, none dared risk crashing the vehicle on the highway. Yang Mi's expression turned serious. I'm still skeptical about your talent, but we are a team. We will cooperate with you as long as you don't make unreasonable demands. Lu Yifei nodded. I remain uncertain about your talent, but as Sister Mi said, we need to support one another as a team. Me too, Tang Yan chimed in. Understanding their stance, Li Sun did not hesitate further. System, I volunteer to be the driver. Finding driver. Li Sun vehicle owner permissions activated. A virtual dashboard only visible to him unfolded. Vehicle. Used RV level. 1 max speed. 30 kilometers per hour fuel. 60/100 defense. None condition. Ordinary features. Driver seat plus 1 single bed. Li Sun sighed at the vehicle stats. A top speed of 30 kilometers per hour would never outrun monsters. Aside from the driver's seat, there was only 1 bed. It truly lived up to its title as a worn second-hand RV. As he studied the panel, Yang Mi's enchanting voice rang out again. All right, now that we've picked our driver, Li Sun, come take the wheel. Let's set off to find treasure chests. After all, we don't have any food or water right now. Okay, I'll drive right away. Lee Sun climbed into the driver's seat. It was nothing more than bare sheet metal topped with a wooden plank, hard enough to make his butt ache. He pressed down on the clutch, and after a slight shudder, the second-hand RV slowly rolled forward. For the first time, the scenery outside the windows unfolded fully before them all. An endless abandoned highway stretched across the wasteland. The asphalt surface was crisscrossed with cracks, and dry gray dust settled in every pothole. A blistering sun hung overhead, scorching the lifeless land. The air was hot and stagnant, and even the wind carried searing heat. Wrecked vehicles leaned and overturned along both sides of the road, covered in rust, alongside withered black grass. There was not a single person in sight. The whole world was eerily quiet, nothing but rolling heat waves beneath a vast, desolate sky, as if civilization had long since vanished entirely. It felt as though only the four of them traveled alone in this RV. Everyone fell silent, silently contemplating what lay ahead. The only sound was the constant creaking of the moving second-hand RV. Roughly half an hour passed as the RV continued bouncing along the road. Lee Sun's voice drew the three women's attention. Up ahead, there's something. They followed his gaze. Around 50 meters to the right of the road glinted a treasure chest. It's a treasure chest. Lee Sun, drive closer to take a look, Tang Tang said excitedly. As the RV slowly approached, the full scene around the chest came into view. Beside the chest stood a mutated wild dog, 2 meters long. Much of its fur had fallen out, revealing raw, rotting flesh beneath. Sharp bone spurs jutted out through the skin along its spine. Cloudy gray eyes locked firmly onto the RV, and it let out a terrifying low growl. That mutated wild dog looks horrifying. How do we get the treasure chest? Lu Tianxian paled and huddled behind Lee Sun's seat. Information surfaced on the vehicle owner panel before Lee Sun's eyes. Mutated wild dog level, 2 strength, 0-20 agility, 0-25 danger level, none. Rest assured, the novice protection period is active. Feel free to move forward. Note: experience gained from monsters slain by squad members will be divided equally among everyone. Don't worry, we're still within the novice protection period. Look closely, the mutated beast can't move at all, Li Sun reassured Lu Tianxian. Yang Mi observed for a moment and confirmed the creature remained motionless. She relaxed. Tang Tang, do you want to step outside and test your talent? Sure, I'll give it a try. Tang Tang threw open the door, leaped out, and landed right in front of the monster. She channeled power into her right fist and slammed it toward the wild dog's head. Her S-rank talent Superhuman Punch activated, amplifying her strike tenfold. Boom. The mutated wild dog's head exploded instantly. Flesh and blood splattered across the asphalt, and its 2-meter body crashed to the ground. From the RV, Li Sun stared in shock at the JK uniformed Tang Tang. Wow, this energetic young girl is absolutely devastating. This was the power of an S-rank talent. Incredible. It's handled. Come on out and open the chest. Tang Tang struck a lively pose. The other three climbed down from the vehicle and gathered around the gleaming golden chest, curious about their first group loot. Li Sun stepped forward. Under everyone's expectant gaze, he slowly opened the chest. Li Sun lifted the lid of the treasure chest as the others watched. What met their eyes? Item rarity tiers: white, yellow, purple, black, red. White item. A pack of dry bread. Black item. Vehicle upgrade blueprint. White item. A wooden bow. Ugh, all this junk, Tang Tang sighed dejectedly. Li Sun, check the blueprint first. Yang Mi glanced at the bread and wooden bow. Those items were self-explanatory. The blueprint was what mattered. Li Sun nodded. The moment he picked up the blueprint, the vehicle panel popped up. Vehicle upgrade blueprint. Use it. Vehicle upgrade? Yes, system, use it immediately. Li Sun confirmed without hesitation. Everyone, this blueprint upgrades our RV to level 2. This chest wasn't a bad haul. What? Our RV is upgrading. Let's go back and see. At Li Sun's news, Tang Tang lit up with energy once more. Yang Mi picked up the remaining bread and wooden bow from the chest and smiled charmingly. Right, let's head back and see what changes the upgraded RV brings. Wait a minute. Li Sun, Mi Jia, Tang Tang, check your levels. Have any of you leveled up? Lu Tianxian sounded surprised. Really? Everyone pulled up their personal panels. Li Sun opened his own status screen. Name: Li Sun. Strength: 13 years of construction labor have built you a powerful physique. Speed: 10 average for an adult male. Mental power: 10 average for an adult male. Level: 1.2. You've gained 0.2 levels. Unfortunately, your 3 base stats will only improve once you reach level 2. Talent: Hextech SSS Unique Talent Description. Favored of the arena. Choose 3 out of 5 Hextech options. You are chosen, one of a kind. I gained 0.2 levels. Yang Mi said in her signature soft tone. Me too. Same here. Lu Tianxian and Tang Tang nodded in agreement. Li Sun thought for a moment. Tang Tang killed the level 2 mutated wild dog and earned experience. Since we're in the same squad, experience is split evenly 4 ways, which is why each of us rose by 0.2 levels. Then, should we recruit more people into our team? We could hunt more monsters and all grow stronger together. Tang Tang wondered innocently. That idea won't work, Tang Tang. Yang Mi said after brief consideration, firmly dismissing the suggestion. First, think carefully. If we let strangers join our squad, how can we trust their character? A bad person would be a ticking time bomb inside our group. Second, we've confirmed monster experience gets split between all squad members. More teammates mean we can hunt faster, but the experience will be shared among more people. Fewer teammates mean slower hunts, but each person gets a larger share of experience. You're absolutely right, Yang Mi. Li Sun agreed. Privately, he had no desire to add other men to their team, not until he fully convinced the 3 women of his talent. She's correct, Tang Tang. Lu Tianxian nodded gently. We need to thoroughly assess anyone who wants to join us in the future. All right, I get it now. Let's head back to the RV and check out its upgraded form. Tang Tang folded her arms and smiled. Okay. The group hurried back to where the RV was parked. Before they even stepped aboard, all of them froze, stunned. The old second-hand RV had once been cramped, worn, covered in scratches and rust, looking shabby all over. After the upgrade, its size doubled entirely. The exterior was replaced with thick alloy plating, radiating cold metallic luster. Just standing beside it filled them with a strong sense of safety. Let's go inside and take a look. Someone spoke first, and they all crowded into the vehicle. The instant they stepped through the door, every person froze in amazement. Previously, the RV barely fit one narrow single bed. Now the layout had been completely transformed. The first floor featured a spacious living room and open kitchen. A delicate new staircase led upward to an added attic level, split into 2 separate rooms. The overall space felt vastly roomier. Li Sun's vehicle panel updated with new data. Vehicle, premium RV level, 2 max speed, 80 km per hour fuel, 100/100 defense, reinforced metal plating condition, excellent features. Living room, kitchen, 2 attic bedrooms. The RV's interior space had expanded far more than twice its original size. The cabin where they could barely turn around before was now an open, wide area. The new staircase led to the 2nd floor, seemingly solving their biggest accommodation trouble. The attic was not the fully furnished private rooms they'd imagined. They were just empty partition spaces with clean flooring, no beds or blankets whatsoever. It seems this upgrade only expanded space. We'll need to gather furniture and room fixtures ourselves. Yang Mi's voice carried a hint of disappointment as she sighed softly. Tang Tang did not mind much. She shrugged and smiled. It's already a big improvement. At least we won't all have to squeeze together to rest. The others nodded, agreeing with her. Li Sun cleared his throat to draw everyone's attention. We can plan furnishings later. Right now, our top priority is finding a water source. Without water, we won't survive 3 days. Yang Mi concurred. We have a small amount of bread to eat, but water is far more vital. And since today is still the novice protection period, we should seek out as many treasure chests as possible while scouting the surroundings. Let's hit the road then. Tang Tang could hardly wait. Nearby, Lu Tianxian glanced quietly at Li Sun. Thinking about his mysterious talent, her expression tangled with uncertainty. I need to find reliable proof of Li Sun's talent. I should keep observing him closely and see if I can uncover more clues about what he can do for our survival. Meanwhile, Li Sun settled into the driver's seat. Leaning back, he let out a relaxed breath. The upgraded RV truly made a difference. The driver's seat had been remodeled into a massage chair, incredibly comfortable, a pleasant surprise. Everyone hold on tight. Team Li Sun departs. The upgraded RV raced along the endless wilderness highway. Its tires rumbled across cracked asphalt, and the vehicle creaked steadily as it traveled onward. Li Sun gripped the steering wheel firmly, eyes fixed on the endless road stretching ahead, yet his mind lingered on Lu Tianxian's earlier stare. She'd watched him with clear hesitation and uncertainty. She was clearly wavering in her doubts. Growl. A loud stomach rumble echoed through the cabin. Tang Tang's cheeks flushed bright red, and she lowered her head awkwardly. Lu Tianxian smiled gently, tore open the bread packet, and handed her a slice. You must be starving. Have this to tide you over. Tang Tang accepted the food sheepishly and thanked her quietly. I hope future treasure chests contain fresh water and more supplies. Yang Mi sighed softly, hope flickering in her eyes. She turned toward Tang Tang, her tone earnest. Don't hold back when you're hungry. Speak up. You're our only capable fighter right now, so you have to stay in peak condition. Tang Tang nodded obediently to show she understood. The RV traveled for 3 to 4 hours under Li Sun's steering until 7 in the evening. Suddenly, Li Sun spoke up. Something's up ahead. His voice jolted the drowsy 3 women awake. Tang Tang pressed her face against the cold window to peer outside first. Yang Mi sat upright, squinting toward the distance. Lu Tianxian nervously clutched her skirt and leaned forward from the back seat. A hunched figure stood in the middle of the highway, beside a treasure chest. The creature wore tattered rags that flapped like torn flags in the hot wind. Its spine curved at an unnatural angle, and it moved with stiff, jerky motions, as if its joints were rusted. Its left leg dragged along, scraping a faint trail of dust across the ground. As the RV drew closer, the creature's features became clear. It was a human, or what had once been human. Gray, shriveled skin clung tightly to its bones, as if all moisture had been drained away. Half of its face peeled with rot, revealing raw red tissue underneath. Sunken eye sockets held cloudy, unfocused gray eyeballs that resembled glass marbles. Its mouth hung open, torn at the corners to reveal dry black gums. It let out constant hollow, wheezing noises, like air forcing through a broken bellows. It sensed their arrival and twisted its head slowly, moving like a rusted clockwork mechanism. Its milky eyes met the gazes watching from the RV. After a 2-second pause, it snapped its jaws open and let out a hoarse, dry snarl, dragging its broken body toward the vehicle. A zombie, Tang Tang breathed. There was no fear in her voice, only a strange spark of excitement. Li Sun glanced in the rearview mirror and saw her bright eyes, her tongue darting unconsciously across her lips. Tang Tang, don't rush in recklessly, Yang Mi frowned. We don't know if it carries infection. Look carefully, Mijia. It can barely even reach us. Tang Tang tilted her head, watching the zombie drag itself slowly across the asphalt with disdain. It's so slow I could smash 3 of its heads with one punch. A zombie only has 1 head, Lu Tianxian added quietly. Tang Tang grinned and turned to Li Sun. Li Sun, stop the car. Let me go out. Li Sun hesitated, then read the information popping up on his vehicle panel. Monster, common zombie level, 1 strength, 0-10 agility, 0-5 danger level, none. Note, within the novice protection period, this monster cannot transmit infection. You may engage safely. Just a low-level cannon fodder enemy. I'll drive straight into it. Let's test how sturdy the upgraded RV is. Alright. Li Sun accelerated to 70 kilometers per hour. The RV charged directly at the zombie. Bang! The zombie was sent flying over 10 meters, rolling repeatedly across the pavement before coming to a halt. The RV barely shook from the impact. Well done, Lu Tianxian cheered. Before they could celebrate, the zombie wobbled and dragged itself back to its feet. One arm twisted at an impossible angle, yet it felt no pain, continuing its slow march toward the RV. Remarkable resilience, Yang Mi frowned. I'll handle it. Before anyone could reply, Tang Tang threw open the door and jumped out. She pushed off the asphalt, launching herself forward like a cannonball toward the zombie. Tang Tang, grab the wooden bow first. Yang Mi leaned out the window and called after her. Tang Tang paid no heed. In 3 seconds, 1 punch, clean and precise. Before the zombie could snarl a second time, its head exploded. The headless body swayed and collapsed onto the ground. Tang Tang brushed dark fluid off her knuckles and grinned back at the RV, revealing small tiger-like fangs. All done, Li Sun gripped the steering wheel, swallowing hard. This fierce, energetic girl is terrifying. Yang Mi leaned back in her seat, unsure whether to scold or sigh. In the end, she simply breathed out heavily. Lu Tianxian closed her eyes, unable to watch. Tang Tang, bring the treasure chest aboard, Yang Mi waved. Got it. Tang Tang lifted the chest in one hand, shaking dark residue from her fist, and bounded toward the RV door. She leaped up into the cabin, then turned to face the barren wasteland outside, throwing a cheerful victory sign and flashing her fangs with carefree joy. Mission complete. Li Sun watched her grimy hand waving near him and subtly shifted backward in the driver's seat. Yang Mi handed her a tissue with a look of disgust. Wipe your hands before touching the chest. We don't want to contaminate whatever's inside. Tang Tang stuck out her tongue, hastily wiped her palms, tossed the tissue out the window, and slammed the treasure chest onto the small table in the living room. She planted her hands on her hips. Let's open it. Time to see my loot. Everyone gathered around once more. Li Sun stepped forward voluntarily to lift the crate lid, acting as driver and general helper. Once the golden light faded, neatly arranged items came into view. White. 4 sets of ordinary clothing yellow. 2 single-bed blueprints ready for immediate use yellow. 1 large machete. Huh. Tang Qian tilted her head, picked up the 4 sets of clothes, and shook them open. They were all plain gray and black tracksuits, so unadorned they looked like leftover stock on supermarket clearance racks. Just these? I hoped we'd find dresses. Yang Mi took one and held it up against herself. The fabric was rough, but at least it was clean and new, far better than the black lace skirt she had been wearing nonstop. Li Sun's gaze settled on the yellow blueprint. A notification popped up on his vehicle panel. Single bed blueprint. Use now? Without hesitation, he selected yes, designating 1 bed each on the left and right sides of the second-floor loft. Next, he picked up the large machete and tested its weight. The blade was roughly a meter long, glinting with cold metallic sheen. Its spine was thick, and the handle wrapped in non-slip black tape. While it was no legendary weapon, it was an extremely practical tool for their current situation. Not bad. Li Sun swung it, creating a faint whistling sound as it cut through the air. Tang Qian, you take this blade. From now on, channel your innate ability into wielding it. That way you won't have to wipe your hands every time you throw a punch. Tang Qian pouted. My fists stay perfectly clean, you know? Yang Mi tapped the back of her head. Sure they do. Anyway, it's getting late. We'll park here for the night. Someone needs to keep watch. I'll take first watch. Li Sun stood up from the driver's seat and stretched his stiff shoulders. The 3 of you go rest. I still have plenty of energy to stay alert through the first half of the night. The 3 women exchanged glances. Tang Qian opened her mouth to speak, but Yang Mi silenced her with a look. Yang Mi nodded, a hint of genuine approval in her tone. All right, we appreciate this. We'll relieve you for the second half of the night. Just call us when the time comes. Mi Jia, let me do it. A cool, gentle voice drifted over from the back row. All eyes turned to Lu Tianxian. She sat by the window. Her white dress stood out softly in the dim cabin. Her hands rested folded on her knees, her eyes lowered, casting delicate shadows from her long lashes across her cheeks. She parted her lips, seemingly wrestling with her own thoughts. Then she lifted her head, biting her lower lip as she looked toward Li Sun, her voice even quieter than before. I can relieve you in the second half of the night. You won't be able to function properly if you stay awake all night alone. Li Sun froze for a moment. His mind raced. Had Lu Tianxian decided to test the limits of his special ability tonight? On the surface, he nodded calmly. Very well. Head upstairs to rest first. Lu Tianxian gave a slight nod and said nothing more, climbing the staircase toward the second floor. Tang Qian was already overcome with yawns. She grabbed one of the gray-black tracksuits and followed closely behind. Yang Mi walked last. She glanced between Lu Tianxian and Li Sun, complex emotions flickering in her charming peach blossom eyes as a thought crossed her mind. Shaking her head, she stepped onto the stairs. The hem of her skirt swayed gently with her movements before she vanished around the stair bend. Li Sun was now alone inside the motorhome. The engine was off. Endless wilderness stretched into the dark night beyond the windows. From time to time, a sharp, brief cry from some unknown creature echoed in the distance, only to be swallowed by the wind. With the headlights switched off, darkness enveloped the entire vehicle. Only a faint blue light glowed dimly on the dashboard. Leaning back into the driver's seat, Li Sun could not suppress a rising smile. He let out a long breath and tapped his fingers lightly against his knee. During the second half of the night, I can verify how my special ability works, starting with Lu Tianxian. Night fell deeper, and silence filled the cabin. Li Sun slouched in the driver's seat, one arm draped loosely over the steering wheel, eyes half closed as if on the verge of sleep. Yet he was wide awake. Years of heavy labor on construction sites had forged a resilient internal clock. He could survive on barely 5 hours of sleep over 3 days. This mild fatigue meant nothing to him. His thoughts kept drifting back to Lu Tianxian's ethereally beautiful face. He hoped she would step forward for the survival of the group and confirm whether his unique ability was genuine. If Lu Tianxian believed him first, winning the trust of the other 2 women would follow naturally. As his thoughts wandered, a soft noise reached his ears. The sound was extremely faint. Whoever approached was taking great care not to make noise. The lowest wooden stair creaked softly under their weight. Li Sun remained motionless, keeping his gaze fixed on the night outside the windshield. Still, every sound registered clearly in his sharpened ears. Footsteps paused for several seconds. The visitors seemed to wait for him to turn around. When he showed no reaction, They shuffled forward another 2 steps and stopped roughly 1 meter behind the side of the driver's seat. 10 seconds of silence passed before Li Sun finally turned his head. Lu Tianxian stood where moonlight spilled through the window. She still wore her white dress. She had fair, flawless skin, elegant arched brows, and clear almond eyes that balanced cold grace with quiet warmth. Her straight nose and pale lips complemented her long black hair falling over her shoulders. She stood tall and poised, radiating an otherworldly serenity. Their eyes met. "You came." Li Sun spoke first, keeping his voice low. Lu Tianxian shifted her gaze from his face toward the moonlit highway ahead. After a brief pause, she replied, "Yes. I promised to take overwatch duty so you could rest. It's still early, only a little past 2 in the morning." Li Sun turned back to stare out the windshield at the wild road. "Go upstairs and rest a while longer. I will wake you at 4 to switch shifts." Lu Tianxian stood behind him and did not answer immediately. A fierce inner struggle raged within her. Was this truly the right choice? After a long moment, she steeled herself, telling herself this was for the team, for Yang Mi and Tang Qian. "Brother Li Sun." Her cool, gentle voice echoed in the quiet motorhome. "Your special ability that produces supplies through close contact, is it real?" Hearing her question, Li Sun's heart leaped with excitement. His plan was working. He quickly reined in his grin and put on a mildly helpless expression, slowing his tone. "Tianxian, my ability is absolutely authentic. I'm surprised you still have doubts. I don't exactly disbelieve you. It's just that this power feels so extraordinary." Lu Tianxian trailed off, searching carefully for the right words. She stepped forward, walking until she reached the side of the driver's seat. Pale moonlight slanted through the window, illuminating half of her pale, soft face. Her cheeks flushed with shyness, the tips of her ears turning red. Still, determination lingered in her eyes. She gripped the hem of her dress tightly until her knuckles whitened. She lowered her long lashes and spoke in a soft, breathless murmur. "Brother Li Sun, everyone upstairs, Mi Jie and Tang Qian, are sound asleep. Can we try a brief, friendly exchange to verify your ability?" Once the words left her mouth, she bowed her head deeply, overcome with embarrassment. Every part of her posture betrayed nervous unease. Looking at the elegant young woman before him, Li Sun struggled to contain his excitement. He forced several deep breaths to calm his racing mind and asked in a steady voice, "Tianxian, are you certain you want to do this?" Mi Jie said before that fresh water and food are our most urgent needs right now. Lu Tianxian avoided directly answering his question, but met his gaze without flinching, her clear eyes locked on his. "We spent an entire day searching and only found 2 crates, leaving us with just a single bag of bread and no drinking water at all. We are still within the novice protection phase, so zombies and monsters pose no threat yet. Once this protection expires, danger will multiply. I cannot bear to send Tang Qian out alone to scavenge for resources." Her voice softened even more as her eyelashes trembled. "If your ability truly generates supplies through close contact, then it is worth testing." Bright moonlight traced the blush spreading from her ear tips down to her slender neck. Her breathing quickened slightly, yet she stood firmly in place without taking a single step backward. She tilted her delicate face upward, let her lashes fall, and slowly closed her eyes, ready for the test. Staring at the woman within arm's reach, Li Sun swallowed dryly and whispered, "I'll come over then." He stepped forward, gently cupped her cheeks, and leaned in. Lu Tianxian stiffened all over the second they made contact, freezing up and involuntarily holding her breath. 1 second, 5 seconds, 20 seconds passed. Only quiet wind surrounded them inside the vehicle. Small, muffled sounds escaped her. She balled her hands into small fists and tapped lightly against Li Sun's chest, overwhelmed by embarrassment and uncertainty. Li Sun snapped back to his senses and quickly pulled away, stepping half a meter back. He cleared his throat awkwardly. "Sorry, I lost control for a moment." Color flooded Lu Tianxian's face from her ears down her neck. Even her collarbones tinted pink. She bit her reddened lower lip. A thin layer of mist veiled her almond eyes, tangled emotions swirling within her. She whispered softly, "It's all right, Brother Sun. Please check what reward your ability granted." Hearing the new way she addressed him, Li Sun felt quietly satisfied. One simple exchange, and she had already adjusted how she spoke to him. He nodded. "I'll check right away." He opened his inventory, the hexes, style 5, choice, 3 storage space displaying these items. A case of ordinary bottled mineral water, 1 free vehicle component upgrade for the motorhome, gain F, tier ability, enhanced eyesight. After brief consideration, Li Sun chose to summon the bottled water. The other two rewards were abstract upgrades with no immediate tangible benefit, and drinking water was the group's most pressing shortage. Ding! A sealed case of water materialized on the floor. 12 plastic bottles bound together clinked against one another as they landed. Lu Tianxian stared in shock at the supplies appearing out of nowhere and murmured quietly, "Your ability really works." Li Sun stood beside her and spoke gently to reassure her. "Tianxian, you have seen it for yourself. This case of water is the reward from our exchange." He guided her subtly, hoping to erase all lingering doubts so she could convince Yang Mi and Tang Qian. "I understand," Lu Tianxian replied with a hint of guilt. "I'm sorry, brother Sun. All of us doubted you at first. Tomorrow morning, I will explain everything to Mi Jie and Tang Qian and confirm your ability is real." Li Sun rejoiced inwardly. The first step of his plan had succeeded perfectly. He maintained a warm, magnanimous expression. "There is no need to apologize. This ability sounds unbelievable. Doubt is only natural." Warmth bloomed in Lu Tianxian's eyes, filled with gratitude. "Thank you for understanding us. Go get some rest now. I will keep watch from the driver's seat for the rest of the night." Li Sun nodded and gave a warning. "I'm heading upstairs to sleep. Shout immediately if you spot any danger." He climbed the staircase to the second floor. Out of sight from the driver's cabin, he could no longer hide his wide grin and barely suppressed quiet laughter. The excitement slowly faded after a few minutes. He walked into an empty bedroom, lay down on the plank bed, and closed his eyes to rest. He did not know how long he slept before sunlight slanted through the vehicle windows and fell across his eyelids, bringing mild burning warmth. He frowned and rolled over. His head knocked against the hard wooden floor with a dull thud, jolting him fully awake. Sitting up and looking around, he remembered sleeping upstairs after his exchange with Lu Tianxian the night before. The so-called single bed was merely a bare wooden plank without any mattress. The hard surface had left his back stiff and sore all night. His neck was locked up from sleeping awkwardly. When he twisted his head, his joints popped repeatedly, aching all the way down to his shoulders. Faint voices drifted up from downstairs. The wooden floor muffled most of the words, yet he could distinguish 3 female tones, occasionally interrupted by Tang Qian's clear, bright laughter. Li Sun stretched his sore shoulders, stood, and descended the stairs step by step. When he reached the middle of the staircase, all 3 women lifted their heads to look at him. 3 pairs of eyes locked onto him at once. He paused briefly, then composed himself and walked down the remaining steps, nodding gently toward them. "Good morning, ladies." The moment she saw him, Lu Tianxian's cheeks flushed faintly. She lowered her gaze and greeted him softly. "Good morning, brother Sun." "It's hardly morning anymore, brotherly Sun. It's almost 9. Tang Qian sat cross-legged on the sofa, holding half a bottle of mineral water from the crate they had acquired the night before. The cap sat loose, and most of the water was already gone. She smiled brightly, her eyes crinkling into crescents when she spotted him. Yang Mi leaned against the opposite seat, one leg crossed over the other. She also held a bottle of water. Her charming peach blossom eyes studied him with quiet scrutiny and quiet complexity. Li Sun instantly understood. Lu Tianxian had told the other 2 everything that had happened the previous night and confirmed that his special ability was genuine. With that in mind, Li Sun decided to speak plainly. "Mi Jie, Tang Qian, I suppose you've all heard. My special ability works. We can obtain rewards through voluntary close contact each day. I was wondering if you..." Before he finished speaking, both Yang Mi and Tang Qian blushed and fell silent, staring down at the floor. After a long pause, Yang Mi sighed as if she had reached a difficult decision. She lifted her beautiful eyes to meet his gaze. "Li Sun, if your ability truly works, the 3 of us are willing to cooperate. We hope this power can provide us useful supplies. The novice protection phase is over now, and we have no way of knowing what dangers lie ahead." She paused, her soft voice tinged with slight shyness. "But there is one non-negotiable rule. You must never force any of us into anything we are unwilling to do. Of course, if one of us chooses voluntarily to participate." Li Sun's heart skipped a beat. Yang Mi had not finished her sentence, yet her meaning was crystal clear. He calmed his surging excitement and replied steadily. "Rest assured, Mi Jie, I will never cross any boundaries without your consent." Once Yang Mi and Li Sun settled their terms, Tang Qian could no longer contain her curiosity. She slid off the sofa barefoot and padded quickly over to Li Sun. She tilted her head upward, her bright eyes sparkling. "Brotherly Sun, Tianxian Jie tested your ability and confirmed it works. Can I try to?" Her straightforward request stunned Li Sun. He glanced instinctively toward Yang Mi to gauge her opinion. Yang Mi raised an eyebrow. watching quietly without stopping Tang Qian or offering any comment. Seeing his hesitation, Tang Qian stepped closer and tugged lightly at the hem of his shirt. Just once, okay? Tianxian Jie got a whole crate of water. I might unlock even more useful supplies. The young girl tilted her head, sunlight gilding her lively features. Her round eyes shone with pure excitement, free of shyness, driven only by curiosity and competitive spirit. Lu Tianxian sat quietly to the side. She kept her gaze lowered, though the tips of her ears burned bright red. Yang Mi sipped slowly from her water bottle and stared out at the barren wilderness, pretending indifference to the scene unfolding in front of her. Li Sun looked down at Tang Qian in her school uniform. She craned her neck to meet his eyes, her lips slightly pouted, determined to give the ability a try. His Adam's apple bobbed involuntarily. Li Sun found himself slightly overwhelmed. The night before, Lu Tianxian had hesitated endlessly, struggling to gather the courage to propose testing his power. This energetic young girl, however, stood barefoot on the motorhome floor under bright morning sunlight and asked outright if she could take part, seemingly oblivious to awkwardness. Tang Tang. Yang Mi's alluring voice drifted over. Do you know what you're about to do? Of course I do, Sister Mi. Tang Tang glanced at Yang Mi, then turned straight back to Li Sun, tilting her chin up confidently. It's just a kiss. Sister Tianxian already tried it, so I want to turn too. Sister Tianxian did that last night to verify whether the ability was real. A hint of helplessness crept into Yang Mi's tone. She paused, at a loss for words faced with the straightforward young girl. But you're doing this just because. I'm also verifying it. Tang Tang cut her off, tilting her head as if her logic was undeniable. Sister Tianxian's test alone isn't enough. How can I confirm if Brother Sun's ability only works on her, or if it activates for anyone? We need to gather all the information we can. Listening to Tang Tang's reasoning, Lu Tianxian let out an amused, exasperated laugh. Yang Mi's mouth twitched, torn between thinking there was a sliver of logic in her words and believing the girl was merely acting on impulse. Eventually, she fell silent and leaned back against the seat, her expression saying, "Deal with this yourself." Tang Tang's eyes lit up. She turned toward Li Sun, her lovely face lifted. Hands planted on her hips, she closed her eyes firmly, her voice bright with anticipation. Brother, I'm ready. You can go ahead. Li Sun's Adam's apple bobbed. He coughed softly to steady himself, suppressing the smile threatening to surface. He put on a serious expression and nodded. All right, Tang Tang. Here I come. With that, he stepped forward, pulling the energetic girl gently into his arms. One hand rested lightly at the back of her head as he leaned down and kissed her. Seconds ticked by. 10, 20, 40. A quiet cough broke the moment. Yang Mi's cheeks flushed, and she looked away, reminding him quietly. Li Sun, you should stop now. Yang Mi's voice pulled Li Sun back to reality. He slowly released Tang Tang and coughed awkwardly. Sorry, I got carried away and lost track of time. Freed from his embrace, Tang Tang stood unsteadily, her mind fuzzy. She blinked blankly. Brother, is it over already? It is. Seeing her dazed state, Li Sun's lips curved upward. He deliberately teased her. Tang Tang, your kiss triggered the ability, and the reward has arrived. Do you want to find out what we received? Tang Tang instantly shook off her stupor, her face lighting up once more. She urged him eagerly to speak. Lu Tianxian and Yang Mi also turned their gaze toward Li Sun, both curious what reward Tang Tang's kiss had unlocked. Li Sun opened his status panel. Name: Li Sun Strength, 13 Speed, 10 Mental Power, 10 Level, 1. 3. Talent: Hextech SSS Unique Talent Description, Favorite of the Rift. Choose 3 out of 5 Hextech augments. You are the chosen one of a kind. One selection available today. Activate Hextech Selection. Activate Selection. Daily Hextech Selection Initiated 1. For uniform sets 2. 1 case of bottled water 3. Simple regional map marks nearby highways and resource nodes. Single use 4. Water condenser produces 50,000 milliliters of water daily 5. A bow and arrows. Li Sun scanned the 5 options and thought briefly before picking options 1, 3, and 4. He saw no need for option 2, the case of bottled water. With the water condenser from option 4, they would have a steady water supply. He also didn't require the bow and arrows from option 5. He had already obtained one from the highway treasure chest the previous day. Ding. Selections 1, 3, for confirmed. Items transferred to system space. Li Sun checked his stored items. First, he activated the F-grade talent ocular enhancement. Then he took out the water condenser to secure their sustainable water supply. Ding, faint light shimmered, and a brand new air water condenser materialized on the motorhome floor. Its cool silver metal casing glinted in the sunlight streaming through the windows. Grills along the side drew in a gentle airflow, pulling sparse moisture from the desert air for condensation. Tiny droplets trickled down pipes and dripped steadily into the storage tank. The sudden appearance of the device stunned Lu Tianxian, Tang Tang, and Yang Mi. All three stared silently at the machine. After a moment, Yang Mi recovered first, her voice thick with shock. Is that an air-water condenser? It is indeed. Li Sun was satisfied by their reaction and explained slowly. With this machine, we won't have to worry about running out of drinking water ever again. Tang Tang, your kiss solved our biggest survival challenge for the team. Tang Tang beamed with joy and hopped lightly on the spot. She looked triumphantly at Yang Mi. I knew I'd get something great. Sister Mi, you should try with Brother Sun too. Let's see what reward you get. As Tang Tang's innocent words landed, Yang Mi's ears burned, crimson blush spreading across her cheeks. She nervously clutched the fabric of her dress. Li Sun silently praised Tang Tang's perceptiveness and secretly gave her a thumbs up, though he feigned a stern tone. Tang Tang, don't rush her. Give Sister Mi time to get used to the idea. It's bound to happen sooner or later. What's there to be shy about? Tang Tang shook her head, speaking candidly. Lu Tianxian spoke softly in agreement, her tone gentle. Sister Mi, danger lies ahead for all of us. Think of it as something we do for the safety of the team. I understand. Pressed by the two younger women, Yang Mi shot them a flustered glare, then hardened her expression toward Li Sun. I'm only agreeing for the team's sake. Don't get the wrong idea. Tang Tang and Lu Tianxian exchanged a glance, hiding identical smiles. Now that Yang Mi had consented, Li Sun swallowed dryly and stepped forward slowly. Sister Mi, I'm coming over. Yang Mi stood straight. Her black fitted skirt accentuated her figure, and 5-centimeter heels lengthened her legs, making her look striking. She slowly closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling as she waited for Li Sun to approach. Li Sun walked to stand in front of her. Even at 185 centimeters tall, he was only half a head taller than Yang Mi in her heels. His Adam's apple rolled violently. The long-held longing inside him could no longer be restrained. He pulled her firmly into his arms, one hand cupping the back of her head, and pressed his lips against hers with quiet longing. Yang Mi had long been the person he admired deeply. The sudden tight embrace made Yang Mi tremble. She never got the chance to finish the words on her lips before her mouth was sealed. Be gent. Her quiet murmur faded into the kiss. 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes passed. Both grew completely lost in the moment, oblivious to everything around them. Sister Mi, it's already been 3 minutes. Tang Tang watched them with great interest, resting her chin in her hands and calling out to break them apart. Lu Tianxian stood nearby, her cheeks burning hot as she stared at the embracing pair. Tang Tang's voice pulled Yang Mi back to her senses. She jerked sharply, breaking free from Li Sun's hold. She stepped quickly back beside the window, gripping the frame as she gasped heavily, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Brother Sun, I know Sister Mi is beautiful, but 3 minutes is quite a long time. Lu Tianxian teased with a smile. Li Sun cleared his throat to mask his embarrassment and composed himself. He summoned the 4 uniform sets and the regional map from System Space and spread them flat across the table. These are the rewards from that kiss. Come and take a look. Tang Tang and Lu Tianxian hurried over to the table. Yang Mi, who had regained her breath, walked over as well to examine the supplies. Li Sun lifted one uniform from the bundle. It was a black and white dress trimmed with ruffles, paired with a small white apron. Is this a maid outfit? Lu Tianxian stared in surprise. A strange look crossed Li Sun's face. He pulled out the second set. An off-white fitted uniform decorated with pink cross embroidery. A tailored top matched with a short nurse skirt, complete with a nurse cap and white stockings. A nurse uniform? The third set was a sleek cream outfit trimmed with brown lines. Collared shirt, fitted pencil skirt, accompanied by a formal hat and gradient stockings. A flight attendant uniform? The fourth item was simple men's shorts, thankfully designed in a plain, modest style. The last item was the single-use regional map. An awkward silence filled the motorhome. The 3 women stared at the distinctive clothing laid out before them, each with a different expression. Lu Tianxian's face flushed deeply. She hung her head, staring at her lap, too embarrassed to look at the garments on the table. Hee, Sister Mi's kiss rewarded all these matching uniforms, Tang Tang said curiously, studying the fabric. These clothes will be useful. We can rotate them instead of wearing the same outfits every day. Yang Mi pushed down her embarrassment and calmly assigned the sets. The maid dress goes to Tianxian, the nurse uniform is for Tang Tang, and the flight attendant uniform is mine. The men's shorts are for Li Sun. Li Sun smiled, faintly watching Yang Mi calmly divide the clothes. He picked up and activated the regional map, unfolding it fully. The drawing clearly marked their current position in the desert. 10 kilometers ahead, the highway split into two paths. The right fork led to a level 10 bull monster, an elite foe. The left fork only held level 3 skeleton monsters, ordinary enemies. Li Sun nodded, judging the map to be quite practical for avoiding powerful opponents, though it would disappear after one use. He was deep in thought planning their route when Tang Tang's clear voice rang out. "Brother Sun, we're going upstairs to change into the new clothes." Li Sun nodded to acknowledge her words. The three women headed upstairs to change. Quiet fell over the motorhome, only interrupted by the steady drip of water falling inside the condenser. Li Sun sat in the driver's seat, the map clutched in his hand. Though he appeared to study it, his gaze drifted unfocused. All his attention was fixed on faint sounds drifting down from the upper floor. He listened carefully. First came Tang Tang's quick footsteps, then Lu Tianxian's soft tread down the corridor, followed by Yang Mi's steadier steps. Next came the rustle of fabric, along with Tang Tang's occasional voice floating down. "This skirt is so short. Sister Mi, can you zip me up?" "Sister Tianxian, you look amazing in this." Li Sun stared at the map, struggling to hold back his rising smile. 7 or 8 minutes later, footsteps echoed on the stairs, and he lifted his head. Tang Tang appeared first. She wore the nurse uniform, the cream-fitted top adorned with pink cross embroidery, ending just above her hips, paired with a short skirt. She wore white stockings and tied her hair into a lopsided ponytail. She skipped down the last 2 steps and spun on the spot, her skirt flaring open like a small white umbrella. "What do you think?" Tang Tang stopped before him, leaning forward with hands braced on her knees, eyes sparkling. "Brother, do I look good?" Li Sun answered honestly. "You look wonderful, Tang Tang." Tang Tang grinned, revealing her small tiger fangs. Before she could speak further, footsteps sounded again on the stairs. When Lu Tianxian descended, Li Sun felt as if the light inside the vehicle softened. She wore the black and white maid dress. Ruffled trim rested neatly above her collarbones, and a white apron tied around her waist accentuated her slim figure. The full skirt fell to her knees, revealing a stretch of fair, shapely calves. She left her long black hair loose over her shoulders, which made her cool, ethereal features stand out even more. She stopped in the middle of the living area, eyes lowered. Her hands folded nervously in front of her waist, lips pressed tightly as she waited for his opinion. Li Sun exhaled slowly as he looked at her. "Tianxian, this maid outfit suits you perfectly." Lu Tianxian glanced up at him. Her eyelashes fluttered, and she lowered her head again, a faint pink tint spreading across her ears. "Thank you," she whispered softly. Tang Tang was about to tease her when the final set of footsteps came down the stairs. A hush fell over the cabin. Yang Mi walked down wearing black stiletto heels with a thin strap wrapping across her delicate ankle. Her flight attendant uniform was the cream-tailored set. The collar of her blouse was slightly unbuttoned, revealing a glimpse of her collarbone. The pencil skirt hugged her hips tightly, ending 1/3 of the way down her thighs. She wore light brown gradient stockings, dark at the ankles and fading slowly upward. She held the formal hat in her hand instead of putting it on. She stopped firmly in the center of the motorhome. Tang Tang stared wide-eyed for 3 seconds before letting out a gasp. "Sister Mi, you look stunning." She darted forward to tug Yang Mi's sleeve, but Yang Mi raised a hand to stop her, sighing lightly. "Don't mess around." Yang Mi's gaze moved past Tang Tang to meet Li Sun's eyes. She watched his reaction, folding her arms and lifting an eyebrow, as if asking, "Have you seen enough?" Cough. Li Sun cleared his throat and looked away. He spread the map flat across the table once more. "All changed. Let's plan our route." A red circle marked their current coordinates. 10 kilometers forward, the highway split. The road to the right was circled in red, with small text noting level 10 bull monster elite. The left path was marked with faint gray dashed lines, labeled level 3 skeleton monsters, ordinary foes. A level 10 elite monster? Yang Mi frowned and tapped the red circle with her fingertip. "None of us have even reached level 2 yet. If we run into a level 10 elite now, we might not even be able to escape." "Exactly. So we take the left path. We'll fight regular monsters to grow stronger, and come back for the elite later when we're powerful enough." Li Sun finalized their plan. "Sister Mi, I'll drive. The rest of you don't sit idle. We have the water condenser. We can trade water for supplies on the global chat channel." "Trade supplies?" Yang Mi's eyes lit up. "Right? How could I forget that? Our water is a renewable resource, while food, tools, and clothing are all consumables. Trading renewable water for non-renewable goods works entirely in our favor." Lu Tianxian analyzed calmly. Go check the global channel to see what trades we can arrange. I'll get behind the wheel. Li Sun sat down in the driver's seat and started the motorhome. The three women settled into seats and opened the global chat channel on their interfaces. Yang Mi frowned the moment she saw the feed. The channel remained chaotic, flooded with cries for help, boasts, and desperate pleas. Longhua, Wang Xiaolong, I'm dying of thirst. Can any senior spare some water? I'll trade a banana. Sakura Nation, Yamamoto Kazuki, if anyone can give me bottled water, I'll offer valuable supplies in exchange. Nation of Seoul, Song Yunei, I'm Idol Yunei. If anyone brings me water, I can share useful survival information. United States, Clay Thompson, I've reached level 2. Recruiting teammates female applicants only. Every message reflected desperate need for water, the source of life. It seems our trading plan will work, Yang Mi smiled. I'll handle negotiations, Tang Tang. You prepare the water, and Tianxian manages the trades. Understood, Sister Mi. The two nodded obediently. Yang Mi typed a message and sent it to the global channel. Longhua, Yang Mi, purified water available for trade. Seeking food, materials, blueprints, equipment, or valuable intelligence. Message me privately if interested. This single message caused an immediate stir in the channel. Is this real? It must be a scam. Who would trade water freely? Longhua, Wu Zilong. Beautiful sister, I have a ham sausage. Can I exchange it for a bottle of water? I'm so thirsty. Nation of Seoul, Park Dajin at Longhua. Yang Mi, you should share water for the benefit of all survivors. Longhua, Li Jianjun at Longhua. Yang Mi, Ms. Yang Mi. I am Li Jianjun from Longhua's Senior Command. In this highway survival challenge, prioritize your own safety first. If you have spare resources, please offer aid to other citizens of Longhua when possible. And do not be influenced by people from other nations. Private messages flooded in by the hundreds in an instant, nearly crashing Yang Mi's virtual interface. Most people were trying to get water for nothing or barter worthless trinkets for a single bottle of drinking water. Some even attempted to pressure her with moral appeals. Water is far more precious than we initially thought. Yang Mi stared at the flood of messages with a calm expression. Lu Tianxian leaned over to glance at the screen, her tone full of sympathy. Mi Jia, let's trade water for that banana and ham sausage those two offered. We'll take a small loss, but they're fellow citizens of Longhua after all. You're just too soft-hearted and kind. Yang Mi sighed helplessly at the woman beside her before relenting. Since Tianxian has personally pleaded their case, we'll agree to the trade. Those two are just lucky. Yang Mi opened the private chat window for the two survivors and messaged them directly. Yang Mi, fellow countrymen, I will trade one bottle of purified water for your banana and another bottle for your ham sausage. Wang Xiaolong, thank you so much, Mi Jia. Wu Zilong, we really appreciate you, Sister Mi Yang Mi. You both know who I am? Wang Xiaolong, think about your fame, Mi Jia. Everyone our age knows you well. Wu Zilong, second that. Yang Mi froze for a moment, then realized it made sense. She was a top-tier celebrity back before the apocalypse. Wang Xiaolong, how do we complete the trade exactly? Right then, a system notification echoed simultaneously inside the minds of all three people. Trade intent detected. Trade item, 1 bottle of mineral water in exchange for 1 banana. Trade item, 1 bottle of mineral water in exchange for 1 ham sausage. Place all traded goods on open ground. Confirm the transaction to activate spatial item transmission. Confirm transaction? Spatial transmission function. Yang Mi realized the survival systems built in rules and capabilities were vastly more sophisticated and powerful than she had estimated earlier. She explained the spatial transmission feature and the system's comprehensive mechanics in detail to Li Sun, Lu Tianxian, and Tang Tang. Wow, Mi Jia, this ability is absolutely incredible. Tang Tang's eyes lit up with amazement, her mouth hanging open in shock. Li Sun nodded faintly, sorting out the pros and cons with a composed demeanor. This function is invaluable. With spatial transmission supporting our trades, we can exchange supplies with survivors anywhere across the globe. As long as both sides reach an agreement, we have an endless supply of clean water from the water condenser. This irreplaceable scarce resource lets us seize the upper hand and lay the groundwork for our long-term plans. Let's confirm the trade right away to test how it works. Lu Tianxian urged them forward. Yang Mi nodded, pulled out 2 bottles of purified water, and tapped the confirm button on her panel. In the blink of an eye, the 2 bottles of water vanished into thin air, and a banana along with a ham sausage materialized on the table in their place. It worked. Spatial trading is fully functional. Delight flooded Lu Tianxian's face. We won't have to struggle for food and drinking water going forward. This is amazing. Tang Tang hopped around cheerfully on the spot, overcome with joy. World Channel Longhua, Wu Zilong, it's real, clean water. Mi Jia keeps her word. All fellow Longhua survivors with valuable goods hurry to trade. Longhua, Wang Xiaolong. Mi Jia is truly generous. United States, will Trump. Damn that Longhua woman. If I ever cross paths with you, I have a wooden bow to trade for one bottle of water. Count me in. I've got a machete here. Yang Mi's private message inbox blew up once more. Back to work, girls. Yang Mi pulled the others out of their excited stupor. It's just 2 small snacks we gained. We need to collect more daily necessities and weapons. Got it, Mi Jia. Lu Tianxian and Tang Tang immediately got back to sifting through incoming trade requests. The 3 women completed several more trades afterward, stocking up on multiple packs of instant noodles and a chunk of cured beef to greatly boost their food reserves. They also obtained a 30-kilogram giant sledgehammer in exchange for water. Tang Tang walked over eagerly and lifted the massive hammer with one hand. Blessed with an exceptional physical aptitude, the 30-kilogram weight felt perfectly manageable in her grasp, easy to swing and wield freely. Li Sun watched the scene with a faint sense of incongruity. The petite, energetic young woman stood at 168 centimeters tall, yet effortlessly hefted the bulky, heavy sledgehammer, a stark, striking contrast. Turning his attention away from the group, Li Sun steered the RV onward at a steady 50 kilometers per hour as shown on the dashboard. The road conditions deteriorated visibly ahead. The pavement had been abandoned and untended for years, pockmarked with deep craters and cracks filled with dark, gray gravel. Every time the vehicle rolled over uneven ground, the whole RV jolted and shook violently. The wilderness lining both sides of the road grew increasingly desolate. Even wrecked vehicles vanished from view, leaving only stretches of withered yellow grass swaying feebly beneath the scorching wind. After traveling roughly 10 kilometers, a road fork came into sight. The 2 paths looked identical, but Li Sun did not hesitate and turned the steering wheel onto the left road. Driving another 5 or 6 kilometers forward, he slowly pressed the brakes and brought the RV to a full stop. There's something up ahead. To the right side of the highway sat a gleaming golden treasure chest alongside 3 skeletons. Each skeleton was shorter than an average adult, their pale gray bones glowing faintly under sunlight. Rusty short blades were clutched in their bony hands, and empty black eye sockets stared straight toward the RV. Ding 3 skeleton monsters level, 3 strength, 30 agility, 10 threat level, low risk. Everyone get ready to disembark. Li Sun exhaled slowly. He knew he needed to overcome this obstacle. Gripping his large machete tightly, he stepped out of the RV. Watch me smash these skeleton monsters' skulls with my hammer, brother Sun. Tang Tang grabbed her 30-kilogram sledgehammer in one hand and bolted out of the vehicle first with light, quick footsteps. Her standard nurse uniform fluttered slightly as she ran. Yang Mi gripped her longbow and turned to Lu Tianxian. Tianxian, stay back with us. Heal anyone who gets injured the second trouble arises. Understood, Mi Jia. Lu Tianxian clutched her sleeves tightly, calming her nervousness and nodding firmly. The 4 stepped onto the hot asphalt road. Heat rose in thick waves from the pavement, carrying the acrid stench of melted asphalt under the blazing sun. Li Sun tightened his grip on the rough machete hilt, steadying his breathing to calm his nerves. Yang Mi held her bow with a composed look and laid out their battle plan. Li Sun and I will each draw 1 skeleton monster away to create an opening for Tang Tang to attack. With her natural strength talent, Tang Tang can take down a single skeleton in mere seconds. Then rush over to back us up once she's finished. Are you all right with this plan? She directed the final question toward Li Sun. I'm good to go. Li Sun nodded steadily. Tang Tang twirled her heavy sledgehammer confidently. Leave this to me, Mi Jia. I'll take these monsters down in no time. 30 to 40 meters away, the 3 skeletons slowly rotated their bodies, their hollow eye sockets locking onto the group. Harsh, scraping noises echoed as their bone joints creaked. Rusted blade tips dragged along the ground, carving faint gray marks into the asphalt. All right, get ready. At Yang Mi's command, she activated her spirit detection talent to lock onto the skeletons in the distance, drawing her longbow and aiming steadily at one skeleton's skull. Fire! She released the bowstring. The arrow whistled through the air and buried itself in the skeleton's torso, immediately drawing its aggro. The skeleton spun around and charged straight toward Yang Mi, swinging its rusted blade. Yang Mi quickly backed away, kiting the monster to keep her distance. Brother Sun, let's move out. Tang Tang charged forward head on, moving swiftly across 20 meters in just 5 seconds despite carrying the massive hammer with ease. Lee Sun gritted his teeth and sprinted right behind her to engage the second skeleton. He gripped his machete with both hands and unleashed a powerful overhead slash aimed at the skeleton's skull. Two sharp cracks rang out. The heavy blade cleaved clean through half the skeleton's skull, obliterating the monster with a single strike. Lee Sun stared at the bone fragments coating his blade, stunned. I didn't know I was this strong. Level 3 monsters are nowhere near as tough as I thought they'd be. A short distance away, Tang Tang swung her 30-kilogram sledgehammer in a wide, forceful arc. Boom. The heavy hammer crashed dead center into the skeleton's ribcage. Its pale ribs shattered into countless shards, and the entire bony frame was sent flying 3 or 4 meters backward. The skeleton snapped cleanly at the waist. Its lower legs stood rooted on the pavement, while its upper torso rolled onto the roadside amid scattered bone fragments. One down. Tang Tang landed steadily and rested the hammer against her shoulder, turning to grin brightly at Lee Sun. You were awesome too, brother Sun. Naturally, Lee Sun put on a calm, unruffled demeanor when met with the girl's bright smile. The pair were exchanging casual words when an urgent shout cut through the air. Brother Sun, Tang Tang, hurry over and help me, Jia. Lu Tianxian's cry snapped the two out of their relaxed mood. I'll rush to support me, Jia. Before the words fully left her mouth, Tang Tang lifted her sledgehammer and sprinted toward Yang Mi at top speed. The heavy hammer swayed beside her as she ran with brisk strides. Lee Sun picked his machete up off the ground and hurried after Tang Tang. Yang Mi had kept a 20-meter gap between herself and the third skeleton, retreating slowly while firing arrow after arrow. Most wooden arrows bounced harmlessly off the hard bone structure. Only one lodged itself in the skeleton's collarbone gap to slightly slow its advance. She was backed into a corner with every move growing riskier. Dodge left, Mi Jia. Lee Sun circled around to her side and shouted a warning. Yang Mi swerved left on instinct, but her foot caught on an uneven patch of road surface. She stumbled sharply, nearly dropping her longbow. The skeleton seized the opening instantly, swinging its rusted bone blade horizontally toward Yang Mi's abdomen in a lethal strike. Mi Jia, look out! Lu Tianxian screamed in alarm from the rear. The blade never made contact with Yang Mi. A figure darted into the gap in an instant. Lee Sun drove his boot hard into the skeleton's blade, wielding elbow joint. A sickening crack sounded as the bone joint bent backward unnaturally, sending the rusted knife skittering far across the road. He wrapped one arm around Yang Mi's arm and pulled her firmly into his chest, shielding her safely within his embrace. Wrapped against Lee Sun's chest, Yang Mi caught his faint natural scent. The firm, warm hold dispelled all the terror she had felt facing the monster, filling her with an overwhelming sense of peace and safety. Tang Tang arrived moments later, raising her giant sledgehammer high overhead before bringing it crashing down with brutal force onto the skeleton's cranium. A deafening crack split the air. The entire bony frame split open from the top of its skull all the way down to its ankles. Like a dry snapped branch, the skeleton collapsed in 2 large pieces and crumbled into piles of broken bone debris. Another one eliminated. Tang Tang planted the hammer firmly into the ground, bracing her hands against the handle to catch her breath after the fight. Sweat dripped down her chin onto the metal hammerhead. Mi Jia, are you hurt anywhere? Lu Tianxian rushed over to the group with a worried expression, inspecting Yang Mi closely. Still flustered from being held in Lee Sun's arms, Yang Mi quickly stepped away from his embrace. A dull throbbing pain pulsed from her sprained ankle. I'm fine, I just twisted my ankle when I tripped a moment ago. I'll heal it for you right away. Lu Tianxian knelt down, placing her palm over Yang Mi's swollen ankle and activating her life-healing talent. Warm green light emanated from her palm and wrapped fully around the injured joint. The sharp, stabbing pain faded completely within just 2 seconds. Yang Mi rotated her ankle slowly, face lighting up with joy. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. It's fully healed. I'm relieved the pain is gone. Lu Tianxian retracted the glowing healing light from her palm and breathed out a quiet sigh of relief. The battle drew to a close, with all 3 skeleton monsters destroyed. Whoa! Tang Tang suddenly let out a gasp. Brother Sun, Mi Jia, Tianxian Jia, check your system panels. We've leveled up. Everyone immediately pulled up their personal system interfaces to check their stats. Name, Lee Sun Strength, 26 Speed, 20 Spirit Power, 20 Level, 2.2 Talent, Hextech Unique SSS. Rank Talent Description, Favorite of the League of Legends Arena. Choose 3 out of 5 Hextech upgrades. You are the chosen one of a kind. My level jumped straight to 2.2, and all my strength, speed, and spirit stats have nearly doubled. This boost is incredible. Lee Sun stared at his drastically improved stats in shock and turned toward the women. How did your panels change? Yang Mi studied her own data with a pleased smile. We've received the exact same full stat boost across the board. Lu Tianxian and Tang Tang nodded in agreement, having gained identical attribute increases. Darkness gradually fell over the wasteland. All right, it's getting late. Head back to the RV and cook up the instant noodles with the beef we traded for. We deserve a proper warm meal tonight. Lee Sun cleared his throat and assigned tasks. I'll retrieve and open the treasure chest over here. The three women nodded and headed back into the RV. Lee Sun walked over to the roadside, picked up the glowing golden treasure chest, and leisurely made his way back to the vehicle. Inside the RV, Lu Tianxian had already prepared bowls of beef-flavored instant noodles, dividing the traded cured beef evenly into 4 portions for everyone. Lee Sun climbed aboard with the treasure chest, and the three women gathered around as he slowly pried it open. White grade loot. 2 thick quilt blankets purple, grade loot. RV autopilot system yellow, grade loot. 1 revolver with 6 bullets. Wow, these chest rewards are absolutely fantastic. Tang Tang exclaimed the moment the chest contents were revealed. Yang Mi and Lu Tianxian nodded in unanimous agreement as they examined the newly acquired supplies. Lee Sun took out the 2 soft blankets and handed them to Lu Tianxian, telling her to arrange them in the upper sleeping quarters. He then activated the autopilot system with a thought to enable its functions right away. As for the revolver, he thought briefly before handing it to Yang Mi. Your spirit detection talent lets you detect monsters ahead of time. If we'd had this gun earlier, we could have taken out each skeleton with a single shot instead of engaging in close combat. Lu Tianxian had just returned upstairs after placing the blankets and nodded in agreement with his words. A loud stomach growl echoed through the RV, drawing everyone's eyes toward Tang Tang. The young girl's cheeks flushed faintly as she stared longingly at the bowls of steaming beef noodles on the table, speaking in a quiet, embarrassed tone. These noodles smell way too good. It's making my stomach rumble non-stop. The others smiled fondly at her reaction. Lu Tianxian spoke gently with a soft smile. Let's sit down and eat then. Finally, Tang Tang grabbed her bowl of noodles immediately and began eating hungrily. This beef tastes amazing. Lee Sun met Yang Mi's gaze, and the two shared an amused smile. The rest picked up their own noodle bowls as well. Though it was only ordinary convenience food, a hot, filling meal was a precious luxury. Amid survival on the wasteland highway, so every person savored every bite thoroughly. Shortly afterward, everyone finished their meals and rested in their seats. Lee Sun stood up to arrange the night watch schedule. We'll stick to yesterday's plan. I'll take the first half of the night shift. Who will relieve me for the second half? I'll cover the late watch. Yang Mi volunteered immediately. We'll leave the night watch to you too. Tang Tang rubbed her eyes and let out a long yawn, worn out from the day's combat. I'm exhausted, so I'm heading upstairs to sleep now. Lu Tianxian also rose to her feet, heavy with drowsiness. I can barely keep my eyes open either. I'm going to rest as well. Only Lee Sun and Yang Mi remained on the first floor of the RV. At that moment, Yang Mi slowly stood up and walked toward him. She was dressed in a flight attendant uniform that outlined her graceful figure, her tailored skirt fitting neatly around her hips. She wore sheer black tights covering her long legs, and 5-centimeter stiletto heels added height to her slender frame. Without a word, she stepped forward and gently hugged Lee Sun. Lee Sun, thank you for saving me today. Lee Sun felt warmth well up inside him as her body pressed against his. He steadied his emotions and replied quickly, Don't mention it. We're on the same team. I would never let anything happen to you. All right, I'll head upstairs to rest first. I'll come down to take over your watch in the middle of the night. Yang Mi shyly loosened her arms around him and turned to climb the stairs. Lee Sun watched her graceful figure walk away and swallowed subconsciously. He thought to himself that she possessed an entrancing charm. Hours slipped by until 2 or 3 in the early morning. Lee Sun sat in the driver's seat of the RV, his eyelids heavy as lead, barely able to stay open. On normal nights, he could stay up late scrolling on his phone, but keeping watch was far less easy than it sounded. In the dead of night, overwhelming drowsiness washed over him, an invisible force urging him to slump down and fall asleep on the spot. He rubbed his aching temples hard and even patted his cheeks to stay awake, yet it did nothing to fight the fatigue. His head kept drooping forward. He decided to stand up and walk around to refresh himself. As he pushed himself up from the seat, clear footsteps echoed from the stairway leading to the second floor. Yang Mi walked down slowly in her stiletto heels, still wearing her flight attendant uniform. Her previously pinned up hair fell loosely over her shoulders, and faint pillow marks lingered on her pale cheeks. Proof she had only just woken up. She stopped beside Li Sun and spoke softly. You look exhausted. Let me take over the watch. Go upstairs and get some rest. I'm truly struggling to stay awake. I'll head up. Call us immediately if you run into any trouble during the night, Li Sun reminded her. Don't worry. Go get some sleep. Yang Mi nodded, sat down in the driver's seat, and took over the night watch. Li Sun yawned, nodded, and climbed the stairs toward the second floor. The second floor of the RV was split into two separate bedrooms. Lu Tianxian stayed in the left room, and Tang Tang occupied the right. Li Sun paused between the two doors and hesitated for a moment. Images of Lu Tianxian's ethereal, otherworldly face drifted into his mind. Her quiet, gentle temperament tugged at his heart. He made up his mind and walked straight into the left room. It was not that Tang Tang, with her vibrant energy, was any less appealing. It was simply that Lu Tianxian's pure, ethereal aura drew him more. He pushed open the door. Lu Tianxian lay peacefully on the bed, covered by a thin blanket, sleeping quietly and neatly. Thanks to his tear-enhanced eyes, Li Sun spotted a maid outfit folded neatly beside the bed at once. A thought crossed his mind. Had she gone to bed without many clothes on? His heart raced, and he forced several deep breaths to calm his restless thoughts. He did not even take off his outerwear. Moving as quietly as he could, he edged onto the bed beside her. The bed was not large. Even though Li Sun pressed himself against the edge, there was barely any space between them. Li Sun turned on his side and closed his eyes, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Heavy drowsiness soon swept over him, and his consciousness grew hazy. But only minutes later, a soft arm gently wrapped around his waist. It belonged to Lu Tianxian. Li Sun froze. He assumed she had draped her arm over him accidentally while turning in her sleep and would pull it back soon. Instead, her arm tightened. She pressed herself against his back like a clingy octopus. He could feel the soft pressure of her body through the thin fabric of his clothes, sending a tingle down his spine. His whole body tensed up instantly. Warm, steady breath brushed against his ear. She was clearly sound asleep, unaware of what she was doing. Li Sun tried to shift slightly to free himself from her embrace, but every time, he moved a little. She let out a soft murmur and held him even tighter. He dared not shift anymore. After a brief moment of consideration, he sighed inwardly. Forget it. It wasn't his initiative anyway. Shortly afterward, he drifted off into deep sleep. Throughout his rest, Li Sun felt constant pressure weighing on him, making it hard to breathe. The blue moon sank toward the west, and a faint glow of dawn appeared on the eastern horizon. Golden morning light streamed through the RV windows and fell across the bed. Li Sun woke up. To be precise, the warmth radiating from Lu Tianxian roused him. Sometime in the night, Lu Tianxian had shifted to sit astride him, her pale legs resting on either side of his waist. Her head lay peacefully on his chest, and her arms wrapped firmly around his neck. The thin blanket that had covered them during the night had slipped off and fallen onto the floor. Without the blanket covering her, Li Sun could see her wearing a cyan bikini, revealing her fair skin. Staring at the scene right in front of him, he swallowed dryly and took a deep breath to steady himself. He gently shook her shoulder. Tianxian, dawn has broken. It's time to wake up. Lu Tianxian let out a soft, sleepy hum. Her blurry eyes slowly opened, focusing on Li Sun's face. She stared blankly for 2 seconds. She glanced down and realized how she was positioned on top of him, along with her thin cyan bikini. Her mind went completely blank. After a long pause, Brother Sun, why are you in my room? Lu Tianxian's face burned bright red as she whispered. Li Sun sat up, bent down to pick up the blanket from the floor, and handed it to her. Speaking calmly, there are only 2 rooms upstairs. Tang Tang is in the right one, and you're in the left. If you were me, which would you choose? Lu Tianxian took the blanket with one hand and quickly wrapped it around herself. Her other hand flew to cover her burning cheeks, and her ears turned bright red. She mumbled quietly, I see. Her thoughts swirled inside. Did Brother Sun choose my room because he likes me? Sharing a bed like this felt far too sudden and rushed. Seeing Lu Tianxian sitting there dazedly, blushing deeply, Li Sun's lips tugged upward into a faint smile. He decided not to tease her further. I'm heading downstairs first. Come down quickly once you're ready. With that, he walked out of the bedroom and descended the stairs to the first floor. Shortly after, Lu Tianxian emerged, neatly dressed in her maid uniform that suited her gentle bearing, and walked down the stairs. The door to the other room opened as well. Tang Tang stepped out in her crisp nurse uniform, her long hair tied into a playful ponytail. Sleepiness lingered in her eyes. All 4 gathered in the living area of the RV and sat down on the sofa. Li Sun glanced at the dashboard clock. It showed 7:55 a.m. He stood up and cleared his throat, trying to act natural. Let's set a fixed time for using my ability from now on. How about 8 o'clock every morning? After he finished speaking, Lu Tianxian, Tang Tang, and Yang Mi all blushed. They exchanged quick glances and nodded in agreement. Brother, I'll go first. Tang Tang stepped forward quickly. She stood on tiptoes, placed both hands on Li Sun's shoulders, and leaned in to kiss him without hesitation. Tang Tang's kiss was bold and enthusiastic. Li Sun wrapped his arms around her slender waist, able to feel her warmth through the thin nurse uniform fabric. Roughly a minute passed. Li Sun pulled away first. It was not that he could not continue, but Tang Tang, still inexperienced, had forgotten how to breathe, and was bright red in the face. Ahem. Next person come forward. We'll check all the rewards once everyone finishes, Li Sun said with a calm expression. Lu Tianxian, who had been watching, was already flushed. She took a deep breath and walked toward him. She tilted her head slightly upward, closed her eyes, and waited quietly. Looking at the girl before him, who looked like an immortal maiden, Li Sun did not hesitate. He pulled her into his arms and leaned down to kiss her, one arm around her waist, and the other gently supporting the back of her head. Time flowed slowly. 1 minute turned into 3. Lu Tianxian's breathing grew uneven, and her delicate hand patted Li Sun's back, signaling she needed to stop. Li Sun slowly pulled away. A faint smile appeared on his face. Her cheeks were flushed all the way from her jaw to her collarbone. She felt weak all over and stepped back to steady herself, staring at the ground, clutching the hem of her maid's skirt tightly. All right, next. Mi Jia. Li Sun turned his gaze toward Yang Mi. Yang Mi had already stood up. She wore her flight attendant uniform, and her long legs wrapped in black stockings looked straight and slender. Yet she stayed rooted in place. Crimson spread across her cheeks and crept down her neck. Her charming peach blossom eyes glistened. She bit her lower lip softly, wanting to step forward, yet her legs would not move. You? Her voice was soft, laced with subtle bashfulness. Come to me. Hearing her tone, Li Sun walked quickly to stand in front of her. Yang Mi held a special place in his heart. Lu Tianxian was like the moon, distant and pure. Tang Tang was like a bright sun, warm and fiery. Only Yang Mi was the face he had seen countless times, the one who had accompanied him through countless lonely nights for years. He looked at her with quiet affection. Yang Mi tilted her head up slightly. Her eyes fluttered shut and opened again, wordlessly inviting him closer. Li Sun gently pulled her into his embrace. The flight attendant uniform pressed against his chest, warm beneath the fabric. He leaned down and kissed her lips. This kiss was filled with tender affection, unlike the previous two. Yang Mi gripped the collar of his shirt tightly. Her body leaned softly against him, supported by the height of her heels. One arm circled her waist, while his other hand rested lightly on her hip through the fabric of her skirt. Yang Mi's breathing quickened, and a soft sound escaped her lips. She wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him closer. Everything around them faded away, as if time itself had stopped. 3 minutes passed, then 5, yet their long kiss continued. Suddenly, Tang Tang's voice broke the silence. Tianxian Jia, Brother Sun, and Mi Jia have been kissing for 5 minutes. Don't they need to breathe? Tang Tang rested her chin on her hand, watching curiously, and whispered to Lu Tianxian. Lu Tianxian held a water cup in front of her face, only her bright red ears visible. She replied quietly, Don't ask me. I have no idea. The words jolted Li Sun and Yang Mi out of their shared moment. They pulled apart hastily. Li Sun coughed to ease the awkwardness, glancing awkwardly at Yang Mi before quickly changing the subject. Ahem. Let me check what rewards we received today from the ability. Yang Mi's cheeks burned hot. She shot him a shy, reproachful glance. Name, Li Sun. Strength, 26 speed, 20 mental power, 20 level, 2.2 talent. Hextech SSS unique talent description. Favored in the fields of justice. Choose 3 out of 5 Hextech augments. You are the chosen one, unparalleled. One selection available today. Activate Hextech selection. Activate selection. Today's Hextech options unlocked 1. Portable solar charging panel, capable of powering small and medium-sized equipment. 2. 50 rounds of Magnum ammunition compatible with revolvers. 3. 1 carton of military rations. 12 servings, high-calorie compressed food. 4. Satellite phone, able to receive regional radio broadcasts. 72 hours standby time. 5. For sets of thermal underwear, constant temperature fabric suitable for low-temperature environments. Li Sun scanned the options quickly and made up his mind without hesitation. The solar charging panel and satellite phone were unnecessary. The system could fulfill all those functions. He chose option 2, 3, and 5. Ding! A flash of light flickered, and the 3 items materialized on the table. The 3 women stepped forward immediately, curious to inspect the new supplies. The first item was ammunition, perfectly matching Yang Mi's revolver. She only had 6 rounds originally, and the additional 50 brought her total to 56. Li Sun handed all the bullets over to Yang Mi. The second item was a sealed dark green carton of military rations. Li Sun broke the seal. Inside were 12 silver sealed packs, each palm-sized, marked with calorie counts and flavors: beef, chicken, vegetarian, and grain mixes. Lu Tianxian smiled. If we ration these carefully, they can sustain us for 5 or 6 days. She carried the box into the kitchen. The apron of her maid's skirt brushed against the edge of the table as she set it down. The third item was 4 sets of black thermal underwear lined with fine fleece. The fabric was thin yet stretchy. He unfolded one set. The inner layer was made of constant temperature material. The label stated it functioned well between -10 degrees Celsius and 0 degrees Celsius. These will be useful once winter comes. Li Sun stacked the 4 sets neatly on the sofa. We'll keep them for later. We might run into frigid areas ahead, so it's good to be prepared. Tang Tang touched the soft fleece and glanced down at her nurse uniform and white tights with a troubled expression. I'd freeze solid in this skirt when winter arrives. Yang Mi smiled faintly. These undergarments will solve that problem. We can wear them beneath our outfits. Tang Tang held one set up against herself. Brother Sun, this size looks like it fits me. Tianxian Jia, you wear size D, right? This set should be yours. Mi Jia, your size is size F. Yang Mi answered calmly, her tone carrying quiet confidence. Tang Tang stared at Yang Mi with obvious envy. Li Sun listened with amusement, sneaking quick glances to confirm what they were talking about. Lu Tianxian walked over, folded the 4 sets of thermal clothes neatly, and carried them upstairs for storage. All rewards for the day had been sorted and stored. The 4 stood inside the RV and looked at one another, still feeling as if they were dreaming. Just 2 days prior, they had struggled desperately for water and food. Now they had a water condenser and plenty of military rations. Their fortunes had shifted so rapidly none of them could fully process it. So what should we do next? Tang Tang broke the silence and stretched lazily. Li Sun walked over to the driver's control panel and tapped the button to activate the autopilot system. A purple icon lit up, and text appeared on the screen. Autopilot activated. Please set travel speed. He set the speed to 60 kilometers per hour, let go of the steering wheel, and walked back to the seating area. I've turned on autopilot. We can watch for treasure chests along the road. The vehicle radar detects abnormal signals within 50 meters. Li Sun brushed dust off his hands and turned to Yang Mi. You 3 handle resource trading, and I'll keep watch on the surroundings. Yang Mi nodded and sat cross-legged on the sofa. She opened the virtual trading interface on her panel and slid her fingers quickly across the screen. Lu Tianxian sat beside her, leaning forward to help filter offers. Mi Jia, this person has a crossbow and 20 bolts. They want 2 liters of water in exchange. Lu Tianxian pointed to a message. Offer 1.5 liters. No higher. Crossbows aren't rare supplies, and we already have a bow. Understood. Someone is offering gasoline for 3 bottles of water. Should we accept? Take the deal directly. Tang Tang squeezed between them, peeking over Lu Tianxian's shoulder to watch the scrolling messages on the virtual screen. The world channel was busier than yesterday. Texts in dozens of languages scrolled non-stop. Some sent distress calls, others posted trade offers, and a few ranted frantically. USA, donut guy. Those Americans refused to let me join their convoy, even though I already have a green card. USA, George Michael. No, you are not one of us true Americans. Japan, Yamamoto Ichiko. Great American sir, can I join your convoy? Long Nation, Chun Haonan. A reminder for everyone. Do not stay parked in one spot overnight. Monsters and zombies will keep gathering toward your location following your scent. Brother Sun, come quick and take a look. Tang Tang lifted her eyes from the World Channel panel and called out to Li Sun. Li Sun strode over, leaned forward slightly, and followed the direction of her fingertip to stare at the glowing virtual screen. The message had been boosted to the top of the channel by countless surviving humans, posted by a man named Chun Haonan. The message was sent past 3 o'clock in the early morning, nearly 10 hours prior. Dozens of follow-up questions crowded the comment section, yet Chun Haonan had never responded once after releasing the warning. The atmosphere inside the RV turned heavy in an instant, as if most of the air had been sucked out of the confined space. Yang Mi's expression darkened. Her fingertips hovered above the virtual interface, frozen in place. Lu Tianxian tightened the fabric of her maid dress wordlessly, her gaze fixed rigidly on the urgent alert. Usually bright and lively, Tang Tang felt uncharacteristically quiet. She curled up on the sofa, knees drawn to her chest and her chin resting on her forearms, staring blankly at the screen. Li Sun straightened up and walked to the window, gazing at the scenery receding endlessly outside. The wilderness lining both sides of the highway was gradually changing. Amid the withered yellow grass stood scattered structural ruins, remnants of abandoned service stations and auto repair shops. Should we stop to investigate the area? Yang Mi's voice drifted over from behind. Her usual warm tone turned somber. We have ample supplies for now. Let us observe the situation first, Li Sun replied steadily. Tang Tang jumped up from the sofa and walked to his side to peer at the screen together. Sunlight fell across the white stockings beneath the hem of her nurse uniform skirt, casting a faint soft glow. She stared intently at the display for a long moment before turning toward Li Sun. Brother Sun, do you think Chen Haonan is still alive? Li Sun looked down at the energetic young girl. She tilted her face upward, her formerly lively eyes stripped of childish frivolity, filled with a rare solemnity. I cannot be certain, he answered truthfully, his tone hardening with resolve afterward. But we will survive, and we will build a better life for ourselves out here. Tang Tang asked no further questions, quietly redirecting her gaze toward the road stretching ahead. The RV rolled forward steadily under the control of its autopilot system. Glancing in the rearview mirror, the path they had traveled shrank into a pale gray thread, fading far into the distance behind them. Everyone looked forward. Just as silence hung thick inside the vehicle, Li Sun, who had been monitoring the outdoors, suddenly spoke up. Yang Mi, Lu Tianxian, and Tang Tang simultaneously lifted their heads to follow his line of sight out the windows. On the horizon where the highway merged with the distant sky, the outline of a vehicle gradually materialized, barreling straight toward them at a considerable speed along the asphalt road. During their long drive through this wasteland highway, they had seen nothing but endless yellow sand and mutated creatures. For the first time, they had crossed paths with other survivors. Li Sun grabbed the steering wheel, switching autopilot to manual mode and gently slowing the RV's speed. Other survivors, Lu Tianxian murmured in a low voice, a mix of caution and curiosity laced in her words. Li Sun possessed a Tier F ocular enhancement ability that drastically sharpened his vision. He clearly made out every detail of the oncoming truck and warned the others. Their vehicle is heavily modified with a reinforced raised chassis, steel plating welded to the exterior frame, and heavy-duty off-road tires. It is clear this group has traveled hundreds of kilometers non-stop. Upon hearing this, Yang Mi activated her mental detection ability. Her pupils blurred and lost focus as an invisible web of perception spread outward to scan the distant truck. Seconds later, she retracted her power, her expression growing graver. For people aboard, 3 men and 1 woman. The woman's mental signature is extremely unstable with fading vital signs, as if her life could snuff out at any moment. The 3 men carry obvious hostile intent and are all armed. We must stay extremely vigilant. The gap between the 2 vehicles closed rapidly as they conversed. The heavy truck's form grew sharper within view, matching every detail Li Sun had described. Its hull was a dull dark gray, the cargo hold layered with angle iron and steel plates marked by fresh, cold weld scars indicating recent modifications. A protective railing lined the truck's roof, firmly secured with tarpaulin bundles and spare tires. Eventually, both vehicles halted roughly 20 meters apart. Neither cut their engines nor moved to exit their cabins, locked in a wordless standoff. The 2 vehicles faced each other across the 20-meter divide. Li Sun rested one hand on the steering wheel with a grave expression. Dark, tinted windows blocked any view into the truck's cabin, yet he could feel multiple pairs of eyes sizing up their RV with blatant greed. Yang Mi spoke in a hushed tone audible only to those inside their vehicle. The 3 men's mental fluctuations are spiking. They are discussing us. The woman's life force keeps weakening, her pulse faint and shallow, the sign of severe injury. Tang Tang gripped her iron hammer firmly, while Lu Tianxian stood quietly behind her with an arrow nocked on her bowstring. At that very moment, a private message popped up on Li Sun's system panel. Dragon Nation, Yu Dagong. Brother, I'm in the truck opposite you. Don't panic. I only want to trade supplies face to face. Would you agree? The opposing side just messaged me privately, Li Sun announced, reading the message aloud to the group. At the mention of an in-person trade, a sarcastic smirk tugged at Yang Mi's lips. This is nothing more than a wolf paying homage to the lamb. Their intentions are malicious from the start. Hold on. We need to gauge their true motives first. Li Sun remained calm and analytical. That heavily refitted heavy truck proves they hold confidence in their strength, yet they chose to stop at a distance. That means they harbor their own apprehensions. Right now, this is nothing but mutual probing between our two sides. After a brief pause to collect his thoughts, Li Sun typed out a reply. Dragon Nation, Li Sun, I have no objections to a supply exchange. Let us complete the transaction directly through the system interface. His words were poised and unyielding. He refused a physical meeting without outright hostility, leaving them no grounds to manufacture conflict. Silence hung from the opposing truck for a short while before another message appeared. Dragon Nation, Yu Dagong. Fellow citizens of Dragon Nation, there is no need for such cold wariness. Why not step out and meet us to talk? Encountering other living humans in this barren wilderness is an incredibly rare occurrence. Li Sun rejected the proposal gently, yet firmly, without hesitation. Dragon Nation, Li Sun, a face-to-face meeting will not be necessary. We have pressing matters to attend to. After the message was sent, the opposing party fell into a longer stretch of silence, and tension inside the RV thickened further. Then the driver's door of the heavy truck swung open. The first man climbed out, tall and lanky, dressed in a gray sleeveless vest with indistinct dark tattoos covering both arms. He left the truck door ajar, leaning against the frame with his arms crossed over his chest. An unlit cigarette hung from his lips as he scanned the RV windows openly, observing them like a hunter assessing prey worth attacking. A second man followed, shorter but stocky with a shaved head, his neck nearly as thick as his skull. He clutched an iron staff wrapped in black anti-slip tape capped with a large solid iron weight at the end. Instead of lingering by the truck door, he strode forward 2 paces to stand 5 meters in front of the truck's hood. The third man never exited the vehicle, but through the windshield Li Sun spotted a figure seated in the passenger seat, motionless and seemingly commanding the operation from within. They are studying us. Yang Mi breathed softly, slowing her breathing as she tracked the 3 men's forms with cold vigilance. The woman is locked inside the rear cargo hold with no weapons on her person. It is safe to assume she is being held captive by these 3 men. She did not finish her sentence, yet every person inside the RV understood the grim reality. Mimi, prepare to fire and take down 1 target immediately if fighting breaks out. Li Sun issued calm orders. Tang Tang and I will each engage one of the remaining 2 men, and Tianxian will provide covering fire with your bow. Inside the RV sat 3 former top-tier celebrities beloved by the public, blessed with unparalleled looks and figures alongside Li Sun, who appeared to be traveling alone. Within the brutal wasteland highway, these desperate men ruled by primitive cravings viewed the group as an irresistible prize, a lucrative haul stocked with plentiful resources, plus 3 stunning women as additional spoils to claim. Fat prey. Exceptionally valuable prey loaded with supplies and beautiful captives to seize. True to expectations, an arrogant new message from Yu Dagong soon popped up, dropping all pretense of friendliness entirely. Dragon Nation, Yu Dagong, it seems you intend to resist us completely. Let me be blunt. Our leader Tang Shan has set his sights on your RV and the women riding inside. Hand over all your supplies and surrender the women, and you may walk away with your life. Dragon Nation, Yu Dagong, you have 3 minutes to decide. Once we move in by force, you will not be granted any mercy whatsoever. Every character dripped with unmasked threats and unrestrained greed and depravity. Scum. Tang Tang lifted her iron hammer off the floor, eager to strike down the men before them right then and there. Li Sun pressed a hand against her wrist to calm her, signaling her to stick to their battle plan. He then pushed open the RV door and stepped onto the dusty ground, with Yang Mi, Lu Tianxian, and Tang Tang following closely behind him. The 4 advanced forward, stopping roughly 10 meters away from the 2 men standing outside the truck. The moment Yang Mi and the other 2 women stepped into view, the 2 men's stares locked onto their figures with undisguised craving, fully convinced the 3 women were already theirs for the taking. Look at this. They're actual A-list celebrities. The bald man Ma Huojuan roared with laughter, revealing a set of yellowed, uneven teeth. Kid, thanks for bringing these women right to us. Be smart and get lost while you still can. Beside him, the lanky Yu Dagong wore a lewd grin and shouted toward the truck cabin. Shangge, come out and see this. 3 gorgeous big, named celebrities all for the taking. At his accomplice's call, Tang Shan pushed open the driver's door and jumped down to the ground. He stood before the truck hood with both hands stuffed into his trouser pockets. He dragged his greedy gaze slowly across Yang Mi, then Lu Tianxian, then Tang Tang, evaluating them as if appraising merchandise. Taller and broader, shouldered than the other 2 men, He wore an unzipped dark brown leather jacket over a camouflage t-shirt, with a half-meter military knife sheathed at his waist in a heavily worn scabbard, evidence of frequent use. His eyes raked over the three women brazenly as he voiced his crude arrangement. Yangmi belongs to me. You two can pick the other women for yourselves. Ma Huojuan fixed his hungry gaze on Lu Tianxian and licked his parched, cracked lips. Yu Dagong's attention settled on Tang Tang's legs wrapped in white stockings, his mouth curling upward like a feral hound spotting fresh meat. Li Sun stepped forward to stand in front of the three women, physically blocking their predatory stares. Standing at 185 centimeters tall, his upright frame formed an impenetrable barrier cutting off their shameless ogling. Finished sizing them up? Li Sun's tone was flat and cold, speaking to the men as if addressing people already marked for death. Tang Shan raised an eyebrow, caught off guard by the young man's defiance. Boy, it seems you have no grasp of your current predicament. There are three of us against just you. What could you possibly use to fight us? Mimi, fire now. Li Sun barked a sharp command, cutting off Tang Shan's sentence mid-speech. Bang! Hidden slightly behind Li Sun, Yang Mi pulled the trigger without hesitation, her shot precise and clean. Tang Shan's words died instantly as a bullet tore through his forehead. His body crumpled forward heavily, motionless on the ground. Shan Gu, you damned witch, die. Yu Dagong flew into a violent rage, screaming as he charged toward Yang Mi wielding a large machete. But he had barely taken 2 steps forward when Tang Tang burst forth from Li Sun's side. She swung her heavy iron hammer with full force, the solid head slamming brutally into Yu Dagong's torso. The sheer impact sent him flying backward 5 meters across the dirt. Blood gushed from his mouth, and he collapsed motionless onto the ground. Tang Tang planted the hammer head into the soil to steady herself, dust smudging the white stockings under her nurse skirt. She glanced calmly at the fallen man and asked coldly, "Who did you say I belonged to?" Witnessing his 2 companions struck down in quick succession, the bald Ma Huojuan roared in fury and swung his iron staff in a sweeping horizontal arc toward Li Sun's flank. Li Sun tilted his head to narrowly evade the blow, grabbing hold of the staff shaft and forcing it downward sharply. Though Ma Huojuan possessed considerable raw strength, Li Sun's stat of 26 strength granted him overwhelming dominance, driving the staff downward sharply. Seizing the opening, Li Sun drove his knee hard into Ma Huojuan's ribs. A dull crunch of colliding bone echoed out as the man let out a pained groan, staggering backward and dropping his iron staff onto the ground. Bang! A second gunshot rang out, the bullet striking Ma Huojuan squarely between the eyes. He collapsed alongside his 2 dead accomplices. From the moment Li Sun gave the order to attack, the entire confrontation lasted barely 30 seconds. 2 precise shots from Yang Mi, 1 devastating hammer strike from Tang Tang, with Lu Tianxian standing by ready to offer backup support. In seamless coordination, the arrogant men who had coveted the women were all eliminated. There is still 1 woman being held captive in the truck's cargo hold, Yang Mi reminded the group. Li Sun nodded and walked toward the truck's rear compartment. The metal lock on the rolling shutter was only loosely latched shut, instead of fully secured. He pulled upward gently, the heavy metal shutter rattling open with a harsh screech to reveal the pitch-black interior of the cargo hold. Huddled in the shadowed corner sat a frail figure. The woman wore a faded, dusty, oversized T-shirt falling down to her knees. Her exposed legs were covered in overlapping dark bruises. Old and new wounds mingled into ugly purple and black marks across her skin, a harrowing sight to behold. She buried her face into her drawn-up knees, her thin spine hunched with prominent shoulder blades pressing against her thin top. Resembling a terrified creature trapped with nowhere to flee, she was frozen completely still in the dark corner. Li Sun stopped at the cargo hold entrance and refrained from stepping inside abruptly, afraid of startling the already traumatized woman. He slowly knelt down, softening his tone and easing his presence completely. "Do not be afraid. You are safe now." At his words, the woman slowly lifted her head. Her cheeks were gaunt and sunken, her eye sockets hollow, her chapped lips drained of all healthy color, leaving her haggard and emaciated, yet her eyes remained strikingly clear and lucid as she stared steadily at Li Sun. A tiny flicker of stubborn resolve still burned deep within her pupils, even on the brink of collapse. She studied him for a long moment before turning her gaze past his shoulders toward Yang Mi and Lu Tianxian standing beside the RV, then toward the 3 lifeless bodies on the ground. Her lips parted slightly, as if trying to speak. She lifted one hand to grip the cargo hold door frame, dragging herself slowly toward the exit inch by agonizing inch. Li Sun reached out to assist her, but she shook her head weakly, propping herself against the doorframe to let sunlight spill fully over her face. The bright daylight laid every scar across her features bare, an old gash on her temple and a cracked wound on her lip. It was clear sign she had gone without water for a very long time. Then she smiled, a faint, subtle curve of her lips, as if the muscles needed to form a smile had not been used in ages. Leaning against the metal frame, she tilted her head toward Li Sun and spoke, her voice hoarse, yet every word distinct. Thank you. Her eyes drifted shut slowly, her weight slipping away from the doorframe. Li Sun stepped forward instantly to catch her limp body in his arms as she slipped into unconsciousness. Li Sun knelt rooted to the spot while holding the woman's form. Yang Mi walked over and knelt beside them, gently brushing tangled strands of hair behind the woman's ear with feather-light movements, as carefully as tidying the edge of a quilt. Tang Tang stood several paces away with her hammer planted on the ground, resting her chin atop her folded hands on the hammer handle as she watched the scene silently, ignoring the dust coating her white stockings. Lu Tianxian closed her eyes and pressed her palms together in quiet prayer. 10 minutes later, the four buried the young woman beside the highway before moving on to clear the battlefield. Li Sun crouched beside the heavy truck's fuel tank to inspect it. The tank held a full supply of gasoline, enough to travel 200 to 300 kilometers. He twisted the valve open to fill a half barrel of fuel before sealing the lid and storing it in the RV's rear storage compartment. Lu Tianxian searched the truck's cargo hold and retrieved 2 large cartons of instant noodles, over a dozen sausages, and half a case of warm cola. Hauling all the supplies back to the RV. The living area on the RV's ground floor was soon piled full with the scavenged goods. What should we do with the corpses and this modified truck? Tang Tang glanced toward the abandoned vehicle and bodies strewn across the wasteland and asked quietly. We burn everything to the ground. Yang Mi replied evenly, the cold pragmatism unique to survivors of the wasteland ringing in her voice. Li Sun nodded in agreement, splashing gasoline over the truck frame and the 3 corpses before lighting a torch and tossing it onto the fuel-soaked surfaces. The 3 women climbed back into the RV one after another. Tang Tang sat on the sofa with her hammer laid across her knees, staring blankly out the window. Lu Tianxian sat beside her and placed a comforting hand over hers without uttering a word. Yang Mi took the passenger seat and watched the distant blaze burn steadily. Li Sun boarded the RV and observed the women processing their emotions in silence. Though the men they had killed were irredeemable villains, it was their first experience taking human life, and the emotional toll was inevitable. He himself felt no inner turmoil over the act, a fact he found somewhat perplexing. He settled into the driver's seat and reactivated the autopilot system. The RV's engine rumbled to life and pulled slowly away from the scene. Looking into the rearview mirror, the burning sight shrank farther and farther into the distance. It was then that Tang Tang spoke up from the back row, her voice soft and subdued compared to her usual bright tone. Brother, we never learned her name. Li Sun fell silent for a moment and glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Let's name her Thank You then. Tang Tang lowered her head and sniffled before lifting her face, the curve of her mouth ambiguous, hard to tell if she was smiling or not. Yang Mi turned her head to meet Li Sun's gaze. The glance was fleeting, yet carried a gentle warmth he could not quite define. As she looked away, a faint smile tugged at the corner of her lips. Seated in the driver's seat, Li Sun kept his composure. The road stretched endlessly ahead, but the RV had a full fuel tank, plenty of food stocked in the kitchen, and the water condenser ticked steadily away. Most importantly, 3 people who mattered most to him were inside this vehicle. That was more than enough. The RV cruised at a steady pace along the endless highway. The tense atmosphere inside gradually faded. Yang Mi, Lu Tianxian, and Tang Tang calmed their emotions once more and began trading supplies, bartering stored bottled water for essential goods on the Global Survivor channel. Seeing them settle down, Li Sun felt a measure of relief and nodded slowly. With the RV running on autopilot, he had nothing urgent to attend to. He opened his system panel and logged onto the World Channel, curious about the current predicament of other survivors. Dragon Nation, yee-hey, my squad just hunted down a level 2 monster. All 4 of us gained 0.2 levels apiece, plus we looted a vehicle upgrade blueprint. Our Firmament squad is unbeatable. Dragon Nation, Shi Huang. You idiot. Our team is called the Perfection Squad, not the Firmament Squad. Get your facts straight. Dragon Nation, Chu Tian. Dragon Nation, Chun Shi. You 2 fools, stop embarrassing yourselves by arguing publicly on the World Channel. Sakura Nation, Yamamura Ichigo. Damn Dragon Country people. Post your coordinates if you dare. I'll hunt you down without mercy. Josian Nation, Pu Sujin. Exactly. Show us your location right now. The moment Yihei's message went live, hundreds of replies flooded the comment section in an instant. Thick with undisguised envy and jealousy practically bleeding through the virtual screen. Another survivor got a vehicle upgrade blueprint. Lee Sun muttered to himself as he scrolled further down the feed. Most messages on the World Channel were trivial chatter, but scattered fragments of conversation could be pieced together to gather valuable intelligence. The RV rolled smoothly across the boundless highway. The only sounds within the cabin were the low hum of the engine and the soft crunch of Tang Tang eating bread. Multiple survivors mentioned the wide variety of monsters roaming this world. Predatory beasts soaring through the sky, ferocious creatures prowling the ground, and abnormal variants capable of long-distance attacks. Other survivors left warnings that the wastelands lining the highway were not entirely barren. Several groups had discovered abandoned building complexes amid the wilderness. These ruins held valuable salvage opportunities, yet they were also prime ambush spots for monsters, requiring extreme caution for anyone venturing inside. As the RV continued traveling across the barren highway, the cabin stayed quiet, filled only with the engine's constant low roar and Tang Tang's quiet chewing sounds. Lee Sun stared at the scrolling World Channel messages, slowly growing drowsy. Abruptly, a sharp cold chill washed over his bare back, jolting him fully awake. What's going on? Ding system alert. You are entering the frigid highway zone. Please take measures to keep warm immediately. Current ambient temperature has plummeted to 20 degrees Celsius and will keep dropping rapidly. All survivors are advised to seek heat sources or insulated shelter as soon as possible. Right after the system notification faded, a shrill howl swept past the vehicle windows. Whoosh. The temperature inside the RV then plummeted sharply without warning. Every breath the group exhaled condensed into thick white mist the second it left their mouths. Thin frost crystals spread rapidly across the window panes, intricate ice patterns crawling to cover the entire glass surface in the blink of an eye. It's freezing. Tang Tang wore only her thin nurse uniform, offering no protection against the sudden cold snap. Her cheeks flushed a pale purple as her body trembled uncontrollably from the frigid air. Beside her, Lu Tianxian was dressed in a maid uniform with slightly thicker fabric, yet she wrapped her arms tightly around herself, her lips turning pale blue. Sun Gu, I'm freezing too. I remember now. You got 4 sets of thermal underwear as a talent reward last time. Yang Mi shivered all over, but kept a clear head as she spoke quickly. Tianxian, Tang Tang, head upstairs to change into your thermal layers. You switch into yours down here, Lee Sun. The 3 women retrieved the thermal underwear from the storage cabinet and headed to the second floor to change clothes. Lee Sun picked up his own set of thermal wear. Men naturally had higher cold tolerance, so the current temperature was still bearable for him. He shook his head briefly and quickly put on the thermal garments. Surviving on this endless highway never lets anyone catch a break. After stretching his limbs to warm up, Lee Sun reopened the World Channel. Unsurprisingly, the sudden cold wave had thrown the entire channel into chaos, with countless survivors panicking and venting their desperation publicly. Sakura Nation, Sasaki Shoji. It's so cold, I can't feel my feet anymore. Someone please help me, Joseon Nation. Kim Jong. Yeol. Damn it. Why is the vehicle air conditioner blowing cold air? Did this broken car break down completely? Dragon Nation. Liu. You fool. The engine stalled, so there's no heat output. Start your vehicle back up first. India. McCool. Anyone got spare gasoline? I'll trade a handgun for fuel. United States. Trontai. Help. Help. Who has blankets and gasoline? I'll trade personal belongings for supplies. Desperation permeated every line of text. Even through the virtual interface, Lee Sun could sense the overwhelming despair oozing from these messages. On this frozen, frigid highway, gasoline was no longer merely fuel to power vehicles. It was a lifeline that kept survivors from succumbing to hypothermia. The only way to fight the bitter cold was to run the engine and rely on the vehicle's heating system. But once fuel reserves were exhausted, the RV would stall completely. The warmth radiating from the parked vehicle would draw wandering monsters over time, trapping survivors in an inescapable dead end. Lee Sun glanced at the fuel gauge, which read 80% full, then looked at the half-barrel of spare diesel he had salvaged from a heavy truck earlier. He shook his head firmly. Running the heater would drain their fuel far too quickly, leaving the RV unable to travel for more than a few days. His only option was to source warm supplies via trades on the World Channel. He pulled up the channel chat window, his expression calm and composed as he typed out a message. Dragon Nation, Lee Sun, bulk purified water available for trade. Will only accept cold-resistant supplies or related crafting blueprints. Message me privately for deals. His post brought a momentary lull to the flood of desperate messages before the channel erupted into frantic activity once again. Another top survivor, trading water. Sir, I used to be an airline stewardess with a neat appearance. I can trade personal accessories for 1 bottle of water. Dragon Nation, Lee Sun, no thanks. I already have a stewardess companion staying with me on board. Lee Sun scoffed faintly at the comment, responding to the sender directly. He had no need for such trades when Yang Mi was right there with him. He continued scrolling through the incoming replies. I have an electric blanket, but my vehicle has no power left. Asking for 10 bottles of water in exchange. I have insulated down jackets, 3 bottles of water apiece. Sakura Nation, Suzuki Ichika. Big brother, could you spare some water for free? Dragon Nation, Li Jianjun. Ignore that Sakura National. Brother, I've got something valuable you definitely need right now. Let's talk in private. A private message popped up moments later. Dragon Nation, Li Jianjun. Brother Li Sun, I risked my life to obtain a purple, tier solar, powered air conditioner blueprint. I'm asking for 30 bottles of water for this item. Is that acceptable? Li Sun, send over the blueprint for me to inspect first. The other party immediately shared the blueprint image. Blueprint, solar, powered air conditioner grade, purple rare effect, generates unlimited warm and cool air as long as sunlight is available. Li Sun agreed to the trade without hesitation. Dragon Nation, Li Sun, deal. 30 bottles of water vanished from his storage space instantly, while a blueprint glowing with faint purple light drifted down to rest on the tabletop. The 3 women had just walked downstairs and witnessed the entire exchange. Yang Mi looked confused and spoke first. Li Sun, what supplies did you get in exchange for 30 bottles of water? Dragon Nation, Li Jianjun, thanks a ton, brother. I'll reach out to you for future trades if the chance arises. Li Sun paid no mind to the message and smiled at the 3 women. Take a look for yourselves. This is an extremely precious find. Really, Sun Ge? Tang Tang hurried forward curiously, picked up the blueprint, and let out a gasp of delight. Wow, it's the solar, powered air conditioner. Activate it quickly. I'm still feeling chilly even with the thermal underwear on. Yang Mi and Lu Tianxian's faces lit up with excitement upon hearing Tang Tang's words. With this appliance, sweltering heat and freezing cold would no longer pose a threat to their safety. Li Sun took the blueprint back from Tang Tang and mentally confirmed its activation. Buzz. A soft purple light bloomed suddenly, projecting onto the right interior wall of the RV and glowing steadily for 30 full seconds. When the purple halo faded away, a brand new air conditioner materialized in its place. Let's test it right away. Yang Mi stepped forward to switch the unit on, and warm air flowed gently through the vents. A wave of comforting warmth washed over her body, chasing away the biting cold in an instant. Tang Tang and Lu Tianxian both wore relaxed, satisfied expressions at the pleasant warmth. Thanks to this solar, powered air conditioner, the cabin was no longer an icy, frigid chamber. Constant streams of warm air circulated through the vents, forming a thermal barrier against the brutal cold raging outside the vehicle. Watching the 3 women relax comfortably, Li Sun felt reinvigorated. He opened the World Channel once more to seek out more supplies through trades. Dragon Nation, Li Sun, more bottled water for sale. Currently seeking all varieties of food items. Private messages for negotiations. Dragon Nation, Li Jianjun, you still have stockpiled water? Unfortunately, my own food supplies are running low. Otherwise, I would have struck another trade with you. This powerful survivor is trading water again. Food is what he wants this time. I need to make a trade. Josian Nation, Kim Hai. Brother, can you give me some water free of charge? I'm dying of thirst out here. Dragon Nation, Li Weigua. Brother, I lead a group with abundant food reserves and desperately need clean water. Let's discuss terms privately. In less than 5 minutes, Li Sun finished a series of trades, spending nearly 50 bottles of water in total. Most of the goods were acquired through trades with Dragon Nation survivor Li Weigua. He received a rich assortment of food including rice and bread, and to Li Sun's pleasant surprise, Li Weigua also included a full roasted lamb set as a free gift. The sender left a note stating the meal set had been obtained from a treasure chest, and he hoped to build a friendly alliance with Li Sun for mutual support in future dangerous situations. Li Sun chose to accept the gift graciously. They were fellow citizens of Dragon Nation. If their paths ever crossed later on, he would not hesitate to lend a hand if he was able. His gaze fell on the roasted lamb meal pack, and a sharp pang of hunger stirred in his stomach. It was the perfect opportunity for the 4 of them to share a hearty feast tonight. Roasted lamb paired with steamed rice would taste even better with a few bottles of red wine to complement the meal. With that thought, he returned to the World Channel and traded a few more bottles of water to obtain several bottles of red wine. Tianxian, take this rice to cook some steamed rice. Li Sun called toward the three women enjoying the warmth. We're having roasted lamb for dinner tonight. Roasted lamb? I'll come help with cooking. Tang Tang's eyes lit up with excitement as she hurried forward to assist. Yang Mi grabbed the back of Tang Tang's shirt to hold her back, sighing helplessly. Tang Tang, have you forgotten the last time you tried to help in the kitchen? You nearly messed up the entire cooking space. Tang Tang's enthusiasm vanished immediately, her shoulders slumping dejectedly. Lu Tianxian stepped forward to take the rice and roasted lamb pack from Li Sun's hands, smiling softly to comfort the younger girl. It's all right, Tang Tang. Just wait patiently on the sofa. Dinner will be ready soon. Okay. Tang Tang mumbled quietly and trudged over to the sofa to wait. 30 minutes passed slowly. Warm steam drifted out from the kitchen, carrying the rich aroma of cumin and roasted meat that quickly filled the entire RV. Unable to sit still any longer, Tang Tang leaned over the back of the sofa, resting her chin on her folded arms and staring longingly toward the kitchen area, her legs swaying gently over the edge of the cushion. Is it ready yet, Tianxian Jia? She asked in a drawn-out tone. Coming right up. Lu Tianxian walked out carrying a large tray holding a whole roasted lamb with golden, crispy skin. Juicy meat juices glistened along the cut surfaces, shimmering softly under the cabin lights. She set the tray carefully on the central table before heading back to the kitchen to bring out a large pot of steaming hot steamed rice. Each plump grain of rice steamed gently, and she laid out clean chopsticks beside the dishware. Tang Tang rushed over to sit at the table immediately, sitting upright with her hands resting neatly on her knees like an obedient student waiting for the meal to begin. Yang Mi sat down next to her, tucking loose strands of hair behind her ears. Her stewardess uniform sat neatly on her frame, and she crossed her legs comfortably in the warm cabin air. Li Sun walked over from the driver's area carrying 4 bottles of chilled red wine fresh from the cool airflow near the air conditioner vents. He pulled out the cork from one bottle and poured generous portions of deep red wine into 4 separate goblets, the liquid swirling smoothly along the glass walls. You even got red wine prepared, Sun Ge? Tang Tang craned her neck to look at the wine glasses, her eyes bright and clear like polished black grapes. I traded for it just now. Li Sun slid a wine glass toward each person and took a seat across the table. The 4 gathered around the table, the whole crispy roasted lamb and pot of steamed rice sitting in the center, with a glass of red wine for each person. Steam curled upward from the hot food, while outside the vehicle lay a frozen wilderness with temperatures 20 degrees below zero. Thick frost coated the windows, blurring all scenery beyond the glass into indistinct shapes. The RV interior was warm and cozy, with steady warm air from the air conditioner driving away every trace of cold. Tang Tang was the first to dig into the meal. She tore off a lamb leg with a little too much force, a drop of hot meat juice splattering onto the front of her nurse uniform. She pouted slightly before biting into the tender meat. She froze for a second and mumbled with her mouth full. It's so hot. Yang Mi let out a quiet laugh, picking up chopsticks to take a slice of lamb and eating slowly alongside her rice. She ate at a leisurely pace, each bite calm and relaxed, unwinding fully after enduring constant hardship in this cruel survival world. Lu Tianxian leaned against the kitchen counter at the table's corner, sipping her red wine little by little. A faint rosy flush spread across her cheeks soon after she began drinking. The delicate neckline of her maid uniform framed her neck softly, the warmth of the cabin deepening the pink tint from her ears down to her collarbone. She ate and drank silently with a relaxed, tranquil expression, resembling a cat letting its guard down to rest peacefully in warm sunlight. Your cheeks are really red, Tianxian Jia, Tang Tang said with her mouth full of lamb meat. Lu Tianxian set down her wine glass and touched her warm cheek with her fingertips, pulling her hand back slightly from the heat. She took another small sip of wine hoping to soothe the flush, yet the redness only intensified, spreading all the way to her fingertips. Li Sun watched the 3 women eat without touching his own food for the moment, leaning against the cabin wall and sipping his red wine slowly. The wine carried a subtle bitter taste up front, followed by a gentle mellow aftertaste that lingered pleasantly in his chest. He opened his system panel again, watching the World Channel messages scroll at a frantic speed. Sakura Nation, Sato Ichiro. Does anyone have spare gasoline? My vehicle stalled, and I spotted unknown creatures approaching in the distance just now. Josia Nation, Li Su, Min, My hands are numb from the cold. I'm so scared, I miss my family. Dragon Nation, Wangda High. Everyone, the windows on my RV shattered. Freezing wind is blowing straight inside. I'll trade my last 3 packs of instant noodles for tape or thick cloth to seal the gaps. India, Rahar, fire. I need fire. All my matches got damp and won't ignite. Messages scrolled far too quickly for anyone to read fully. Each line pushed upward by dozens of new posts the instant it appeared. Lee Sun hovered his finger over the screen without opening any private chats or sending replies. He simply observed the endless stream of desperate pleas flooding the channel. He could not save every struggling survivor. His only priority was to keep himself and the 3 women alive amid this brutal highway survival ordeal. Back at the dining table, Tang Tang eventually rested her head on her folded arms atop the tabletop, worn out by the warmth and full stomach. Her uniform skirt laid neatly over the sofa cushion, and her legs curled inward comfortably on the edge of the seat. Lu Tianxian drained the last of her wine and set the glass down with a slightly heavier clink than usual, her movements growing sluggish from drowsiness. She shook her head to clear her fuzzy mind, but the motion only made her sway unsteadily. Bracing herself against the table edge to stand up, the hem of her maid's skirt brushed lightly against the floorboards. She glanced at the sleeping Tang Tang on the sofa and gently shook her shoulder. Tang Tang, head upstairs to sleep if you're tired. Tang Tang let out a muffled sound and did not stir. Lu Tianxian shook her shoulder again, and the girl lifted her head groggily, rubbing the red indentation left on her cheek from resting on her arms. Are we finished eating? We're done. Let's go upstairs to rest. Tang Tang stumbled slightly as she stood up, and Lu Tianxian supported her waist to steady her. The two walked unsteadily toward the wooden staircase, their uniforms brushing against one another as they climbed the creaking steps. The bedroom door on the second floor clicked shut moments afterward. A deep quiet settled over the first floor of the RV. Yang Mi stayed seated in her place instead of heading upstairs. She held a wine glass with less than half the liquor remaining. Leaning her head against the sofa backrest, the collar of her flight attendant uniform hung slightly loose. The top button of her inner shirt had somehow come undone, revealing a sliver of her collarbone and hollow at the base of her neck. Her cheeks were flushed even redder than Lu Tianxian's, the pink hue spreading from her face all the way to her earlobes and sliding down her neck beneath her shirt collar. She glanced at Lee Sun, her gaze softened by the alcohol. Her peach blossom eyes glistened with a thin layer of moist sheen, bright and luminous. Are you browsing the global channel, Axon? Yang Mi's voice lost its usual sharp astuteness, replaced by a gentle, charming lilt. Lee Sun nodded and tilted the holographic panel toward her. Yang Mi leaned closer. Strands of hair slipped off her shoulders and brushed across the back of his hand. She stared at the screen for several seconds before the smile faded slowly from her lips. Reading the desperate messages scrolling across the panel, Yang Mi fell silent and leaned back against the sofa once more. She drained the last of the white liquor in her glass and set the cup down on the table with a soft clink. After sitting quietly for a while, she spoke in a quiet murmur. They're sleeping soundly upstairs. Lee Sun followed her gaze toward the staircase before looking back quickly. Tang Tang has an iron nerve. She can fall asleep the second her head hits a surface. Tianxian drifted off soon after as well. A faint, relaxed smile tugged at Yang Mi's lips. The alcohol seemed to slow every movement she made by half a beat. She turned her head to face Lee Sun, the moisture in her eyes rippling gently. It's so warm in here. Yeah. I'm glad you're here with me, Axon. Lee Sun said nothing in reply, his eyes fixed steadily on Yang Mi without the slightest shift. Caught under his intense, unwavering stare, fresh crimson flushed across Yang Mi's fair cheeks and burned hot at the tips of her ears. Axon, what have you been staring at? Lee Sun remained silent. He stood up, walked over to the front of the sofa, and looked down at her from above. The woman on the sofa had captivating peach blossom eyes. Her long black hair spilled messily over the cushions, with a few fine strands sticking to her warm cheeks. Her flight attendant uniform was rumpled and disarrayed at the collar, her pencil skirt accentuating her soft figure, and her long legs wrapped in sheer black tights. Intoxicated and weary, she leaned lazily against the sofa backrest. Feeling the weight of his presence, Yang Mi tilted her head upward to meet his gaze, her tone tinged with timid nervousness. What are you going to do? I just want to stay close to you. Lee Sun's voice was deep and steady. He bent down and brushed his lips lightly against hers in a tender kiss. Axon, go easy on me. The next morning, the RV continued moving forward on autopilot. It was still dim inside the vehicle when Lee Sun woke up. Heavy snow sealed the car windows tightly, filtering incoming daylight through thick layers of ice into a muted gray-blue glow. The heating system hummed softly from the air vents, keeping the interior comfortably warm. He opened his eyes to the sight of Yang Mi's dark hair. She curled up securely in his embrace, her head resting against his chest. Her flight attendant jacket lay crumpled over the sofa back, her shirt unbuttoned at the neck to expose a strip of pale shoulder skin. Her breathing was slow and even as she slumbered peacefully. Li Sun stayed perfectly still, listening to the hum of the heater. The person he had long admired from afar was now safely beside him, and a deep sense of contentment settled gently in his heart. He glanced down at her face. The flush from the previous night had mostly faded, leaving only a faint blush on her skin. Her long eyelashes twitched faintly, and her lips parted slightly with each quiet breath that carried a faint sweet scent toward him. He lifted his hand and brushed a lock of hair away from her face behind her ear. She let out a soft murmur in her sleep and snuggled deeper into his chest. About 10 minutes later, noises echoed down from the second floor. Wood creaked as someone stepped onto the first stair, followed by Tang Tang's drowsy grumble and a drawn-out yawn. Li Sun carefully shifted Yang Mi toward the inner side of the sofa and sat up to pull his clothes back on. Tang Tang poked her head out from the stairwell. Her nurse uniform was askew, white stockings visible beneath her skirt, and her hair messy and fluffy. She spotted Li Sun sitting on the sofa and rubbed her sleepy eyes. She was about to greet him with a cheerful, "Good morning, brother," but the words died on her lips when she spotted Yang Mi curled up on the sofa beside him. The flight attendant's shirt was unbuttoned 2 buttons down, her jacket discarded to the side, and her hair scattered all over the cushions. Tang Tang closed her mouth, tilted her head, and observed the scene for a moment before looking up at Li Sun. Her eyes sparkled with quiet curiosity and quiet understanding, yet she asked no questions at all. She lingered by the stairwell for 2 seconds, then spun around and trotted back upstairs with lighter footsteps than before, the hem of her nurse skirt flitting out of sight around the corner. Li Sun heard Tang Tang whisper quietly upstairs, careful to keep her voice low. "Tianxian Jia, are you awake? Guess what happened between brother and me Jia last night?" The rest of her words were cut off by the closing bedroom door. Half an hour passed before Yang Mi stirred awake. Confusion clouded her features the moment she opened her eyes, which quickly cleared as the memories of the previous night flooded her mind. Her body stiffened abruptly, and scarlet heat rushed to her cheeks. Noticing Li Sun watching her, she instinctively tugged at the blanket to cover herself, her earlobes burning hot. Her gaze darted away shyly, the poised composure she usually held completely gone, her breathing slightly quickened. After a stretch of silence, she stole a quick glance at him, her voice thin and trembling with embarrassment. "Axin, what time is it?" "It's 7:30, Mijia." Li Sun spoke softly and turned to face the window. "Get dressed first. Tianxian and Tang Tang will be heading down soon." "Understood. Don't look over here." Yang Mi nodded faintly, residual shyness lingering in her tone. She quickly tidied her appearance and got fully dressed just as footsteps echoed from the staircase. Lu Tianxian and Tang Tang walked down together. Tang Tang was far more energetic than usual, having smoothed out the wrinkles on her nurse skirt. She hurried over to the sofa and sat down, her eyes darting back and forth between Li Sun and Yang Mi with a teasing grin, clearly holding back playful remarks. Lu Tianxian followed behind her, wearing her usual serene smile, though the warmth in her eyes had dimmed faintly. She stood quietly off to the side, and whenever her gaze drifted toward Yang Mi, a subtle, faint twinge of melancholy flickered across her expression. "Why do you keep staring at me like that, Tang Tang?" Uncomfortable under Tang Tang's teasing stare, Yang Mi's cheeks still carried traces of redness. She forced a stern expression to feign composure. "Hee, Mijia, you and brother got much closer last night, so it's only natural we're curious." Tang Tang showed no sign of intimidation, giggling behind her hands with mischievous glint in her eyes. "Also, brother, you must have received excellent talent rewards today after bonding closely with Mijia." Li Sun cleared his throat awkwardly to regain his calm. "Tianxian, Tang Tang, let us finish our daily routine first, then we can check the rewards together." "I'll go first." Tang Tang immediately raised her hand and trotted over to stand before him, tilting her head to study his face for a moment before smiling brightly on her face and tiptoeing forward. Li Sun wrapped his arms gently around her small frame and pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. Having grown accustomed to this ritual, he moved naturally. This gentle moment lasted for 3 full minutes before they parted. Tang Tang stepped back half a pace, hands clasped behind her back as she rocked lightly on her toes. Her eyes curved into bright crescents as she looked up happily. Brother, I figured out how to pace my breathing properly now. Great work, you've improved a lot. Li Sun reached out to ruffle her hair with a fond smile, tugging at his lips. He then turned his attention toward Lu Tianxian, standing nearby. Lu Tianxian walked toward him slowly and gracefully. She kept her head lowered upon reaching his side, seemingly unwilling to let him see the tangled emotions swirling across her face. After standing motionless for 2 beats, she lifted her head, her eyes filled with complicated feelings that Li Sun could not fully decipher. Instead of closing her eyes passively like she had the previous time, she stepped forward, wrapped her arms loosely around his waist, stood on tiptoes, and leaned in to place a tender kiss on his cheek of her own volition. Her quiet gesture carried muted grievance and quiet competition, as if silently conveying her inner thoughts. I was the first to fall for you, the first to grow close to you. So why did your heart lean toward me, Jia? Sensing the suppressed sorrow hidden within her heart, Li Sun pulled the ethereal looking woman into a firm embrace and responded warmly to her silent, unspoken feelings. The two sank fully into the quiet moment, oblivious to everything else around them as time seemed to grind to a halt. 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes passed before they slowly pulled apart. A thin wisp of moisture lingered between their faces and faded as the distance widened. Lu Tianxian appeared soothed by his response. She stepped back quickly, turning her face away with flushed earlobes, yet a faint smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. Tang Tang let out a drawn, out, knowing, ooh from the side, watching the scene with obvious amusement. Yang Mi shot Tang Tang a warning glance to hush her playful teasing. She then looked toward Li Sun and Lu Tianxian with a complicated look and shook her head softly to cut through the thick, affectionate atmosphere. Axon, let's check today's rewards now. Feeling slightly flustered under Yang Mi's gaze, Li Sun quickly agreed. Right, let's pull up the reward panel. He called forth his system interface at once. Name, Li Sun Strength, 26 Speed, 20 Mental Power, 20 Level, 2.2 Talent, Hextech Technology Unique SSS, Grade Talent Description, Favored Champion of the League Arena System. Choose 3 out of 5 Hextech bonuses. You are the chosen one. Irreplaceable 1 Hextech selection available today. Activate now. Activate. Daily Hextech selection unlocked 1. Snow track modification blueprint installable on RV tires to drastically boost traction on snow-covered roads. Cost. Travel speed reduced by 10%. Fuel consumption increased by 15%. 2. Automatic RV loot collection blueprint automatically collects resources dropped by zombies and monsters killed by the vehicle, eliminating the need to exit the RV manually. 3. For units of thermal sleeping bags insulated for environments as cold as -30 degrees Celsius. Upgraded vehicle radar blueprint detection range increased from 50 meters to 150 meters for units of foldable 12V electric heating blankets. Li Sun scanned the 5 options quickly and settled on choices 1, 3, and 4. The snow track modification was his most urgent priority right now. The vehicle tires had been slipping constantly on the snow-laden roads. He had clearly noticed weakened traction during travel, leading to slower acceleration and frequent drifting off course. Despite the downsides of lower speed and higher fuel use, he hesitated only briefly before confirming his pick. The automatic loot collection function was extremely practical. In future zombie encounters, he could simply run enemies down with the RV and gather drop supplies safely without anyone venturing outside into danger. He picked the radar upgrade after weighing his remaining options, as the heating blankets paled in usefulness next to the RV's existing solar-powered air conditioning system. The 3 blueprints materialized and drifted down to rest gently on the RV floor. The 3 women gathered around to examine them and nodded in unison, agreeing the rewards were highly practical for their current journey. Li Sun bent down to pick up the blueprints and activated them immediately. The RV shuddered faintly for a split second with no other noticeable changes. Tang Tang blinked her eyes in genuine confusion. Is that all there is to it? I suppose so, Li Sun muttered with equal confusion. Let's make breakfast first. Lu Tianxian smiled gently and walked toward the RV kitchen. She retrieved several packs of braised beef instant noodles alongside a handful of sausages. We need a full stomach to handle the tasks ahead. Absolutely. Breakfast time. Tang Tang brightened instantly and hurried over to take a seat at the dining table, eagerly waiting for the meal to be ready. Li Sun and Yang Mi exchanged a glance and shook their heads, helpless against the young girl's love for food. Within 5 minutes, the rich aroma of braised beef noodles filled the entire vehicle cabin. The 4 sat together around the spacious dining table, quietly eating the steaming hot noodles. Amid the frigid highway outside, The small space was wrapped in rare peace and warmth. While eating, Li Sun opened the regional channel nested beneath the global chat interface. He had previously relied on the global channel for intelligence gathering and resource trading, so he decided to check out the regional feed for new information. Regional Channel Highway 444, Dragon Nation initial population, 100,000 current survivor count, 85,545. Li Sun's eyes narrowed sharply. In just a few short days, nearly 15,000 people had perished within this single regional zone. He suspected most casualties had occurred after the extreme cold descended on the highway the previous night. Survivors without powerful starting talents or sturdy vehicles had no way to withstand the brutal freezing temperatures overnight. Those who had lived through the disaster were fully awake to the merciless cruelty of this new world. Both the global and regional chat channels were in total chaos, flooded with countless distress messages. Does anyone have fuel to sell? My RV windows are broken. I'll trade food for waterproof tape. I stopped the vehicle briefly last night, and some unknown monster attacked my RV. It nearly tore the doors clean off. Vehicle upgrades are absolutely necessary now. 10 minutes later, Li Sun closed the system panel. From messages posted by other survivors, he learned new critical information. Aside from looting treasure chests scattered along the roadside, slaying zombies and mutated creatures also yielded resources, including RV upgrade blueprints, fuel, weapons, food, and purified water. Defeating these hostile entities also granted experience points to raise individual levels. Additionally, multiple accounts of violent looting had surfaced across the channel, identical to the brutal group Li Sun had crossed paths with earlier. With official laws and moral codes collapsed in the apocalypse, the malicious impulses hidden deep within human nature were running rampant without restraint. Li Sun looked over at the three women beside him, a strong sense of gratitude swelling in his chest. Compared to other survivors struggling for basic food and water while fending off monsters and hostile human raiders at every turn, his current circumstances were almost surreal. While others fought tooth and nail just to stay alive, he journeyed safely across the frozen highway with three trusted companions, sheltered within a fully equipped warm mobile home.